Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the March 19th edition of the Jericho Selectboard. I call it Spring Eve because my daughter told me tomorrow's the first day of spring, but I didn't confirm that. So I'm just going to go off what she said.
I believe that is true.
Happy Spring Eve, everyone. In order to make our meetings more efficient, we're limiting public comment to the beginning of the meeting, the public to be heard session, except for occasionally, like tonight, have a couple items that we will allow public discussion on. So tonight, we have the Jericho speed control on the agenda and the Habitat for Humanity, two Railroad Circle issue. We'll allow public comment for those two things. Other public comment about anything else on or off the agenda should happen during the beginning public to be heard session. Please don't use the Zoom chat for anything other than technical issues. Please be respectful. Please keep public comments to 3 minutes or less. With all that said, is there any public to be heard? Chuck.
I'd like to speak, Eric.
Sorry, Tom, I called on Chuck first. Can you wait until after he goes?
You bet, no problem.
So I'm anticipating in the next month or two, you're going to be having hearings on zoning changes, and I've always had a hard time limiting comments to 3 minutes on 250-page zoning regulations. So I'm going to start making a few points in advance. There's some information on here, and I have handouts that I can give you. This is a summary of the really sorry.
Can you go up there?
Sure. So this is a summary of the housing. I'm speaking for myself tonight also. There's a few points I want to make. One is this is the acreage in Jericho divided up by zoning district. So it's surprising to me when I see how little of Jericho zoning is in the areas that were targeted for housing. So the Riverside Center District is 1%. So this is Jericho acreage minus the range, minus parks, all the places where residences can be built. So 1% is in Riverside Center, 1% is in the Riverside neighborhood, 3% in Jericho Corners, 1% in Jericho Center, 1% in commercial, 7% in the village. So basically that's, as you know, that's kind of the triangle. And then 16% is in the 3-acre zone and 70% is in the 10-acre zone. And which is, so the point I want to make is that when you're looking at zoning revisions, you know, I believe we really need to be ambitious about the housing that we're building in 86% of Jericho, where we have previously tried to avoid it. These are the houses that were built in 2025. None of them were built in the village center areas in 2025. Very similar to the last couple of years. And nothing we're doing is going to goose housing in Jericho Corners, which is the majority of village center area. All houses have been down here. This is the cost or the sales price. So this is either the cost of the lot plus the cost of construction that was submitted as part of the zoning permit application, or the ultimate selling price of the property. And you can see the average cost of a new home is a house. ADUs are separate. In Jericho last year was $963,000.
Is that averaging, is that dividing those terms by 3 or dividing all the numbers by 14?
All the numbers by math guy. And you can see in the 4-acre zone, it's 1.2 million. Of the 4 here, I only have costs on 3. So the average is only 3 houses. The average from last year was 1.1 million. So it's fairly consistent. There were 2 ADUs built. One was these are what the owners submitted to the town on the zoning permit as estimated construction. One was 93,000. This was somebody converting a garage to an apartment, they got a $50,000 grant from the state. I don't know if that's on top of the 93 or part of the 93.
I think it's part of the 93.
Part of the 93, okay. And then this is one that was built on Fitzsimons with an average a low end there. And some of the things that I want you to really look at when you're interacting with the planning commission is most of the forms of affordable or more affordable housing. I mean, to afford this house, you need an income of over $300,000, according to the Vermont Housing Finance Agency. Most of the forms of housing that we consider to be more affordable are either banned or discouraged or somehow a de facto ban in this 86% of Jericho. So this is a fourplex, it's next to Joe's. This is still banned in 70% of Jericho. And 16% of Jericho, you have to go through DRB. It's really hard. You can't really bid on a property against someone who wants to build a single family home, knowing that you can build a triplex or a fourplex. This is also does not meet your architectural standards for Riverside. This could not be built in Riverside. The new district.
We are a little over 3, but go ahead. You
Okay.
can go ahead and wrap up.
This is a triplex. Again, we've been studying it for going on 5 years. I think it's ridiculous. We're still debating the legalization of triplexes. This is the housing on next to the bank on Raceway Road. It's 8 townhouses. That's currently banned at 86% of Jericho. This is Starbird. This is 8 units each on 1 acre squares. That's banned in 86% of Jericho. This is a double wide that's in Williston Woods. Now, mobile home parks have just been sort of a de facto ban on that because if you want to have a park of 20 homes, you have to have 200 acres where you're likely to be able to build one. So we know that that's a problem. So when you're looking at the zoning, I think the question should be, what are you banning? And do you really want to ban all of the familiar forms of more affordable housing in this much of Jericho?
Thank you, Chuck.
What's your last, you didn't talk about one of the pictures.
This is, well, okay, so in my view, the most important recommendation that you received from the housing committee that you then sent to the planning commission was the idea that in PUDs, you can add as many units as you want, as long as you're under 1,200 square feet. You remember that. And this is 9 houses on 6 acres on Morgan Road. So I just wanted to show, I mean, we are building compact development of 9 homes on less than 10 acres all over Jericho. We have many examples of clusters of homes in the 3 and the 10 acre zone built before zoning. Beloved neighborhoods like Barber Farm. So I just don't think that we should be afraid of clusters in places outside the village centers. And if you look at the Jericho maps from the 19th century, we had clusters of houses all over Jericho. It's a fiction that we were concentrated in the village centers. So South Jericho, Winooski Valley, Lee River, Nashville. These were all little communities that we had that have been just obliterated. First by the decimation of the farming and then by our zone.
Chuck, can I take a picture of that?
I got one.
Right up there. Okay, hang on.
So I'm gonna
Thank you.
I'm gonna give you the report on the costs and on the HOAs, so you can see how. Here's the point I should have made, is the village area is kind of decimated by HOA. It's really kind of off limit by all the HOAs.
Thank you, Chuck. Tom, sorry, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, thanks. Sometime in February, the board entertained a report on a pedestrian sidewalk path to connect from Lee River to Mount Mansfield High School. And we were made aware that the initial design doesn't include any kinds of plantings along the edges. And I'd like to comment on that briefly. I understand that this is an opportunity to make use of the mothballed pedestrian bridge that came out of the salvaging of the rock face near the old red mill. So it's great that the town has an opportunity to use a structure. But I'd also like to point out that the existing sidewalk that leads down Stone Hill from the fire department building to the actual Lee River crossing is quite devoid of vegetation. And it's a stark example of saving money and not really getting the quality of a design that comes with including street trees. So we and I, as a chair of the Conservation Commission, would like to see the board look more favorably on using vegetation once the sidewalk is built. And we already have a tree nursery in place. We have access to grant money to purchase young trees at a minimal expense to the town. And it'd be a good idea to have the board members take a walk or a bike ride down Stone Hill in the middle of summer to get a sense of what it's like to use a path that feels like you're on Mars. So I'll leave it at that. And if the board would like the Conservation Commission to make a formal presentation at some point, happy to do so. Thanks.
Can I have a follow-up?
Yep.
Quick follow-up. So Tom, is your request that as we're looking at bids around the sidewalk and bridge, that we be making a point to intentionally be including vegetation in that process? Is that the short version of your request?
Fair enough. And we actually have a fair number of plantings already in our possession. So it would be a minimal expense to include in the final design.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was understanding exactly what you were asking for.
Thanks, Peter.
Yep.
Thanks, Tom. Other public to be heard? Okay, first on the agenda is review and consider approval of the planning agreement between Jericho and the CCRPC for the Riverside development scenarios and fiscal analysis. Mr. Chris Shaheen, I believe, is going to lead the discussion on this. We have Chris.
Yes, good evening. I'm here tonight to ask the select board for approval of a planning agreement between Jericho and the Chittenden County Regional Planning Commission and to authorize the town administrator to revise the scope of work as needed, if it's needed during the course of the project. This planning agreement is to assist with bringing on a consultant for the Riverside development scenario and fiscal analysis. That's a project that the select board supported as the subject of a municipal planning grant application back at the October 16th, 2025 meeting. That grant, which is for $30,000, is paying for most of the work. The remaining $23,000 is coming from funds for wastewater work that the town has included in the FY 2026 budget. So it's in the current fiscal year. This study is complementing the ongoing wastewater preliminary engineering report that we're looking at in Riverside, which is this specific project will evaluate how different system capacities are going to influence housing potential, long-term municipal costs and revenues, and the town's ability to pursue funding for design and construction. The planning agreement has been reviewed by the town attorney. It defines the working relationship between Jericho and the Regional Planning Commission, and it details the administrative payments and project management responsibilities. So after the agreement is approved by the select board, we can begin working with our consultant, which is hopefully will be Southeast Group. I say hopefully, assuming that the agreement is approved tonight. That is a consultant that the Regional Planning Commission has on retainer. So it was very efficient for us to work through the Regional Planning Commission to bring the consultant on board. After this is hopefully approved, we'll be able to schedule our first meeting and start working on the development scenarios. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
I have two questions. Can you just clarify the end date of 2027 versus the work schedule date? And then secondly, I'm hoping the town would have input to the imaging that is produced. And there could be some back and forth about that.
Yeah, so for the first question, the agreement with CCRPC is tied to the term of the municipal planning grant, which goes through the end of 2027. That's what they requested. I believe that's just standard practice since this is associated with that municipal planning grant. That's why the date is what it is. And then the other, we do have a scope of work that we have worked out with the Regional Planning Commission. That when it gets to the this is the planning agreement. This does not include the scope of work. I do think though that the scope of work was attachment A that was included in the packet. That when that was sent out to great. So one of those tasks is about creating those illustrations, and it does allow for a back and forth between the town and the consultant in developing those illustrations.
Chris, were you surprised by the SE group's rates?
No,
Or
those
does
are
that's-
rates I'm familiar with from other consultants.
Sounds like
They're in line with what I'm familiar with. Yeah.
In the wrong profession.
Yeah.
Aren't we all? Other questions for Chris?
I'd make a motion to approve the planning agreement between Jericho and the CCRPC for the Riverside development scenarios and fiscal analysis.
I will second.
Motion made by Peter, seconded by Chris. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Amy, that was a yes.
Yes, it was.
Got it. Motion passes 5-0. I'm assuming now we have to sign something.
Yes.
Could I also ask the select board to authorize the town administrator to revise the scope of work in case it's needed during the course of the project?
Oh, yeah.
I would amend my motion to include
Yep.
and authorize the town administrator to modify the scope of work as needed throughout the process. Is that adequate, Chris?
Thank you. Perfect.
I will second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the Underhill Jericho Fire Department requests a training site. No?
Review.
Subdivision and wastewater permit
Oh,
process
I
for
copied.
JCDC.
I copied it from the older thing because
You want me to read it?
review and consider approval to begin subdivision and wastewater permit process with the JCDC to work with Habitat for Humanity for 2 Railroad Circle.
Yes, and I asked that be put on to the agenda because JCDC met just about a month ago and had a good conversation with with Robin Pierce from Habitat for Humanity, and I asked Joe to come tonight to talk a little more about where things stand right this moment. Okay. And there's a picture in your on page 16 of the packet.
Can you scroll down a little bit lower or fan out?
I have a.
Yeah, that's not the one we want to be looking at.
Right, that's not right. Right?
I believe so. Keep scrolling down. We need to see the.
You want the the non-habitat version?
We want the habitat version.
Habitat version, I think, is the top one.
No, scroll down more. That one right there.
This one?
Nope. What?
This one?
That's it right there.
Okay.
That's a habitat version.
Okay, yep.
Okay. So I don't know how far you want me to go back or forth or how much details we want to go into. I'm Joe Flynn, I'm a land surveyor. I serve on the JCDC with Peter. And we've been looking at this piece for probably over a year now on options and so on. And we've, the town, through town direction, we've invested in wetland delineation for the site and also test pits for wastewater. Okay. And in most situations with land development, those are the two largest factors that dictate what can and cannot be done. Okay. So wetlands have been vetted, both with the consultant and with the state. They've been on site, they approved the location delineation, so we have the limits of our wetlands. And we've also had enough test pits dug that we find that we have two viable sites for two wastewater systems, each system being a 3-bedroom system. So we have our limitations. Okay, so with that, at our JCDC meeting, we move forward after a presentation from Habitat Humanity via Robin Pierce that they were very interested. Okay, now in conjunction with certain options with Habitat, we had some prior versions. Just for clarity, can you scroll up to the one up farther?
First one.
Yeah. We first came up with this one. I don't know if you want me to stand.
I can point while you talk.
The first option we came up
So
with.
this is Lee River Road here.
Yep.
That's the existing house,
And
and this is Railroad Circle.
right there. Actually, so one of our first, well, actually, Pete, let's point out the two wastewater systems in the back. So in the rear of the parcel, we have those two, just we feel that these will be approved via raw wastewater agency National Resources. We believe those are viable, definitely viable systems. The soils were actually better than what we expected. So anyway, when we
Only one would be built.
correct.
One's a replacement system for the original house.
Whatever the new house is, will be the rear system. That's be whoever the new house is, that'll be the primary system for that one. The one in front of it is the replacement system if ever the farmhouse fails. The reason we do that is so if the farmhouse fails after we build the first one, we don't have to run over the top of the other one to construct it. So that's the reasoning of why we stepped that. So when we first looked at this, we tried a favorable layout to try to give a little more balance to the lots in size. And because of the building envelopes dictated by the wetlands, Peter, can you trace out the heavy red line? That's a wetland buffer right there. And I don't know if you can see, there's setbacks on there too, but our building envelope is actually quite small for this. It's basically this little area right here. So what we did is we decided to try this design and show it to Habitat. And their response was, and it's understandable that Habitat Humanity doesn't like the construction cost of the driveway that long because we're proposing a driveway come off Lee River and go to there.
So what does Habitat own in terms of the construction? Do they own the driveway?
So we basically, however the select board wants to move forward, you can gift a lot, you can sell the lot, they pay for it, Habitat gets it. Okay,
They take ownership of the lot.
they take ownership of the lot and they build everything.
The septic, the driveway,
Correct.
everything.
Correct.
Okay.
So Robin comes back from his supervisor saying Habitat doesn't like long driveways. One for maintenance, one for the cost, which, you know, the way they sell their homes is whatever cost goes into that home is what they sell it for. There's no gate. So trying
So
to
if they pay $20,000 for the property, the house is now $20,000 more
more
expensive.
expensive. So Robin pushed back and said, can we put the house right on Lee River Road, right in front where the driveway is, right there. Again, we had to push back and say, because of the septic system, the existing septic system of the farmhouse and being downhill, the separation distance never gonna get it. So. Scroll down now. These pop up.
Yeah.
We came up with this layout. And just a little bit more so we can see a little bit more of Lee River Road. Yeah, should be good. So again, the gray shaded area is the actual building envelope we have based upon wetland setbacks.
You say gray shaded, you mean this?
Yep. Because of the wetland setbacks and building setbacks from sidelines, that's our buildable area. Okay. Now again,
Peter, as you're pointing, so I can understand, the white blob is what you're pointing at, yeah?
Yeah, and Paul, and the cursor, can you see the cursor moving?
No, we don't see the cursor moving.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, if you want to hit like whatever, Control Alt, it'll make it yeah, there we go. Now we see it.
Okay.
Yep.
but anyway, that's the area we have to put a building in. And one of the nice things about this is, and Habitat does like this, is the driveway is over existing town road. No construction costs at all for the driveway. Okay, so that's
Because this is a railroad circle right here.
exactly. That's railroad circle.
Third oldest road in town.
How long?
Well, maybe. It sounds like he's leaving it now, though. It sounds like the proposal.
We'll talk more about it.
We'll walk very far.
Yeah. Not on a refresh.
So what we did is we looked at this, I sent it over to Robin and said, how do you like this? Now you'll notice there is still a driveway coming off Lee River Road. Relocated around the back of the existing farmhouse, okay? One of the reasons we do that is it would be quite obtrusive to access the farmhouse like it is right now, to come in and go right through their yard to there. Okay. One of the other reasons is we've known from testimony at other hearings with the JCDC that this neighbor here is very concerned about the hole here. Okay. If we go to the extent of relocating, whoever buys this lot, it's their cost. This will be the private lot sold private sale.
The front, this front lot, the existing.
Well, no, it's all this, Peter. Okay, they will be borne the cost, but with the new driveway entrance, we'll take care of the issues with the road. Culvert, connect in for the culvert coming across. So this will all be taken care of, and the new driveway will come in to access this. Okay. So again, Habitat sent an email today, and Eric and Peter have it, that they've been instructed, Robin's been instructed to create a purchase option agreement. So Habitat is on board with this right here.
What are the land boundaries for the Habitat proper? What piece of land would be selling that? This red line?
Yes. So this big red line is the lot. These right here are the setbacks.
So is there septic and easement?
Yes. We
Okay,
will have a force main back to here. Okay, water line will come in right up through here. One of the nice things about this too, you notice this is a wetland right here. And this is a wetland. This is buffer. The town is, the state wetland has given us authority to run a water line up through here as long as we stay within the road. We do not need a wetland impact for that. So we can bring water in here. Sewer will be looped up to here. Okay,
And the water is just fresh water.
well, it's town water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's town water because the water is a hydrant right here.
Yeah.
I think it's, yeah, it's somewhere, but we have a water line right in front. So it's a favorable layout. Some of the things that town will have to look at is it, I don't know if you noticed, but you can see, boy, it is hard to see. This is all the town right away. This line right here is the extent. of
The dotted red
The
line?
dotted red line is the extent of Railroad Ave based upon its layout. So you notice we have a house in the town right away. But you really can't have.
The Habitat house you're talking about.
Yeah.
Would be in the town right away.
Would be-
would that right of way would continue?
So here's what we discussed at the JCDC. Right now, Railroad Ave serves one parcel all, only this one. There's only one driveway that comes off it, it has access to it. Why is the town maintaining the town highway for one driveway? Why not look at discontinuing this? Both parties, Habitat picks up a nice lot. The remaining lot gets bigger too because we discontinue the right of way. We throw it up. That land reverts to the landowners. And you have a driveway located over a town road. We don't have to do anything with that either. So one of the crutches on this is, in order for this to work, there would have to be proceedings with the select board to discontinue Railroad Ave as a public highway. Seeing how there's only one access off it, I would hope it'd be a pretty linear process.
Has the septic been designed for the Habitat house?
So Graham, our septic designer in PE, has gotten so far to say, these are the soil horizons, this is a design, it'll work. We haven't submitted again. Typically, we don't submit the wastewater till we get either approval at the town level or a really warm fuzzy, because we don't want to have that cost borne if the town turns it down. So we typically wait for wastewater till we find out the results of the town approval.
One of the reasons I'm asking is that this strikes me as a potentially great chip project. And chip would also could be used to cover the design fee of the system. And so if we use chip for that, it could potentially cover the cost of the new septic system, which could then be deducted from the cost of the house by Habitat.
However, the select board wishes to look at that. Okay, the main reason for me being here as a JCDC is to say to the select board, we believe we have a viable project and we believe we can start the permitting process to get this approved and bring hopefully affordable housing. And again, it's town-owned property, so the town has to approve for us to start that project.
The reason I was suggesting that now, I guess, is because if Habitat is going to work out a proposal for, I don't know how it works with them, but if they're going to do a proposal for what the house cost might be, that would be one of the variables.
Now, again, when I say it's a process, as you know, the permitting process takes a while. You know, some of this can run concurrently if we wish. You know, we can start with, because again, the actual house construction, what it looks like, as long as it fits in that envelope, that's their problem. Habitat will buy that lot, and it's up to them to put it on the lot.
Could I ask a question on it? Phil Danielson, neighbor. If I could just approach the. So when I was here a month ago, I thought that we were talking about the house being constructed.
We were.
Okay, so this is very different from
Correct.
when Wayne and I were here
Yep.
last. So what is my understanding now is the Railroad Circle would become the driveway to the new house. What's the distance of the house from the existing McMullen property? Because it looks really small. I mean, that's basically what's currently the McMullen's front lawn.
So, well, the side yard setbacks in that zone is 5 feet.
So my question is,
But yeah, you're right. It's
what's the
extremely
distance
close.
between the proposed house and the McMullen house?
I don't have a scale on me.
Are we talking 5 feet or are we talking?
Well, it's at least, let's just say it's 15, probably around 15 feet.
So we're talking one house going in the distance of this room. I mean, that would be McMullen's house, that would be the new house.
Possibly, yeah.
It could potentially be slid back
So again,
to offset from the
you
house.
know, you can look at flip-flopping it, you can slide the house, we can mirror the house in the driveway.
Or slide the house back, or both, or some
So again, so
combination,
if
yeah.
you look at, let's take the house and put it in the back left-hand corner, right? Up there, the house can go there and the driveway can come in and be front loading. So yeah, there's options here.
It's very different from what was.
Yeah, it is different. And I guess I don't understand. I understand them not wanting a long driveway. But right now, Railroad Circle goes to just past where Paula's mouse is, right?
Mhm.
So wouldn't the driveway just technically be from there up to where we had it before? Like I don't understand that.
The driveway that Habitat has a problem with was what Phil's talking about, which is the last thing the JCDC talked about, which was putting the house here, which would have necessitated Habitat having a driveway go this long distance. They
Right,
said
but-
they don't
but-
want that.
But it wouldn't. It would go from where that pointer is up around.
Yeah, why wouldn't the driveway go?
Up
Right there.
Railroad Circle.
Yeah.
Well, again.
Like
now we're-
railroad circle ends and then you just make it go there.
So here's the difficulty on the question.
Question.
Good question is, so now we gotta try to get a house. So you're saying is this driveway shorter?
Would Habitat be okay going from Railroad Circle to
Right,
the
we own
house?
railroad circle. It's a road, town road,
Right.
and we just have it end at where
Yep.
where you currently have that box drawn, and you say Habitat, your driveway starts there at that line, and then you draw it up to where you originally had the house.
So, good point, Eric, too. Habitat doesn't want big lots either. So are we going, and it's kind of tough, now do we take the lot?
Oh, I didn't realize that. I
They
didn't
don't
realize
like big
that.
lots either. They want small, little compact lots. So
Even if a bunch of it is undevelopable, it's like
Correct.
wetland.
that was, believe me, I pushed Robert for that. I said, Robert, let's go a lot.
We're giving you a beautiful piece of land.
Robert's comments were, they don't want those bigger lots.
Well, I think the neighbors need to be considered too, not just what.
Well, it just drives the cost up.
Do I really want to be looking out my window at a house that's 15 feet from an existing house? Or wouldn't it be better to tuck it in where it would have a nice, private area?
So,
I just see them cramming a house in 15 feet from the McMullen property and 50 feet from the Howe property. When you've got this other area where it was proposed last time and.
again, so we can go back and forth with Habitat.
Mhm.
And the upshot is if they don't like what everyone's comfortable with, now we'll lose Habitat, in which, that's okay too,
Right,
we can
maybe that's
still-
where we go.
Sell it on the open market for 2 lots,
But
you know?
it would be possible, I think, to also include the driveway in the chip project. So again, that if the driveway was paid for through chip, would that ease Habitat's concern, or is it
Well-
or is it also the maintenance
It's
long term?
maintenance on it. Oh,
Okay.
you got a 400-foot driveway, now they maybe need a snow blower, they want to shovel it. So.
Sure.
I definitely get that. That makes perfect
Yeah.
sense, but what doesn't make sense is why not just, I guess, the lot size, but I didn't know that was. I mean, the lot's only 2.3 now, for the whole entire lot,
But in the scope that Habitat works in, they probably work in like
quarter acre.
quarter acre or small, like even, not even a quarter,
Mhm.
eighth acre.
I get that, I guess, but.
So just ask the select board, not just look at a scaled map like that, but go out and look at it.
Mhm.
When from my point of view, I'd be saying, but all of a sudden, it just looks so artificial to just plunk a house 15 feet from the McMullen house. I think it's gonna look really odd.
And again, Phil, we can mirror that, we can take that house and put it top left-hand corner.
Or it could go back where it was last meeting.
And my gut feeling is, and again, I can push this back to Habitat, my gut feeling will be is Habitat says, no, we don't want it back there, and then again, that's fine. Habitat necessarily doesn't have to be a partner in this.
Right.
But there may be more value to the house if it's set back and they have some privacy, rather than turning around and look at your neighbors.
Yeah, the problem with more value is more cost.
Well, right. I guess my question is, do you think that Habitat provides the best option for the most affordable house? Because that, I think, would be high on the list.
So
What would be high on the list?
Having it be
Making
as
sure-
affordable as
Right,
possible.
right. And I think
that is,
that's their
Habitat would-
mission.
That's their mission, and so
That
that
is
would
their
be
mission.
likely the avenue to best achieve that.
if you
Okay.
look at a project we're doing in Heinsberg right on Mechanicsville Road, we're doing bunch of duplexes, very, very, very small lot, and they love that. It's basically almost condos, a little bit of open space. So their kind of goal is for that. We're doing another project in Shelburne, actually 12 units, same premise. So, again, I'm here as a JCDC trying to facilitate the. use
Yeah,
of
no,
it.
it's really
And
great
there's
that we've
options.
gotten this far. It's
Yep.
just, I don't. This is my first time seeing, I didn't get a chance to read your email earlier, if that's what's in there, but I also kind of don't love having 2.5 acres and then 2 houses right there and then Yeah, you know, like I really liked what we had before. I get it.
And keep in mind, every time we go back and forth with redesign, it's more money. You know,
Yeah.
so again, we're hoping to get some kind of direction on what we want to do before we just keep going happy like this. No, again, Habitat is again close. That house can be mirrored. Robin has mentioned that. Actually, to be honest with you, Phil, when I first drew this, I did have the house here, and Robin said, "Bring it closer. We want it." Robin wants that house as close to the buffer as we can put it.
Why?
Close to the road.
Right, but that might.
The road is, but maybe giving up the road is what's challenging for him. Cause
No.
it's right now it's sitting on the road.
Yeah, that wasn't what I pulled from the conversations back and forth is this is what they want to see. Now, can I give you every reason why? No, I can't.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. But again, I will tell you that, you know, they like that right down on Lee River Road where the new curb cut would be, but
Yeah.
that won't work.
Yeah.
So then we pitched this to try to get as close as possible.
Yeah.
And even after I had it in the back, Robin brought it down. So
The more I'm looking at that and thinking about that and hearing you talk, Joe, the more I'm like, okay, so this maybe isn't gonna work with Habitat, which bums me out. Cause I think that they are the path to affordable housing, but if they're just like, no, it's gotta be on the road. One could make an argument like that really isn't viable from what we're trying to do. And so Habitat, we can't work with. If that's like a deal breaker for you guys, it can't be more than X feet from the road, then maybe we say.
But could the house in its same position just slide to the left? You know, be it
Toward Wayne's property?
Yeah, be it
How
the
far
very,
is that? Yeah, like could it touch?
where the driveway, where the parking area is, put the house and then put the driveway in front of the house. I mean, is that a possibility?
as long as we don't impact that buffer,
Right, yeah.
you know, there's nothing says we can't, again, take that house. I think he likes to think it's 22 by 32. If you zoom in, you take the house, turn it 90, and tuck it up in the corner. Too.
When you say up in the corner, you mean where the cursor is, right?
Yeah, right there. Take that house, turn it 90 degrees.
Which doesn't affect the driveway length at all.
Doesn't it? And again, it maximizes our distance between the existing house. It puts it a little farther back.
But I wonder if Robin's gonna say, or if Habitat is gonna say. Yes, the driveway isn't any longer, but the house is farther from the road, and we don't want that. Like, which doesn't make sense to me, but I'm wondering, cause it sounds like, Joe, you put it in that where the cursor is, and they said, no, put it here.
Yeah, exactly.
So they want it close to the road.
So here's the suggestion I have, okay, once again. And you guys give me direction, take the house, put it back where it was, turn 90, tuck it up in the corner, change the driveway, say, Robin. This is the least most favorable, and then put the house up in the back and see if we can get a driveway off the existing road for a shorter driveway.
A driveway from Railroad Circle diagonally across the lot.
That's what I
And the
think we
town
should
would
do.
continue to
Yeah.
maintain railroad circle.
Right, we'd maintain it.
Snow removal is the problem.
It's taken
We're
care of.
cutting
2/3 of it is taken care
both
of.
of- Yeah,
So I would suggest on Laura on that, if we do that, maybe we do away with a bunch of the limits of Railroad Ave, instead of having that dashed red line all the way up and going all the way out to the old railroad bed. It's
Right, I think we could give up that, like that,
Exactly,
like
give up that.
keep
So
whatever
not that I
that length
pointed
is.
out, but if we were to say Railroad Ave ends like right here, remember see, that's a tough part. Now Habitat House is going to get all this, because how do we, unless we do something funny where this lot comes
Yeah.
up, next down narrow and goes out.
Which you might have to if they're like, nope, we can't have more than a quarter acre.
And again,
And-
I just,
Yeah, it's gonna be weird.
yeah, it'd be weird to pocket that in there too. I don't think we wanna pocket that house in there either.
I wonder, what if we, I
I
was just gonna say, what if we sell the back?
Yeah.
What if we sold that back piece?
Well, it's gonna have septic.
No,
Septic.
Have an easement. You step like, we talked to some of the neighbors who are concerned about this eventually being.
Can you step back when you're talking? I
Yeah,
can't.
eventually, right? So like, I don't know.
Well, you have septic in there. It'd be
It's
nice
gonna be septic.
for our,
But it's no different than this, right? There's gonna be septic here, and if right? This house is gonna be on this lot here,
Yeah.
their septic is up here, it's no different.
No,
But
but
if you're selling that piece of land, you're selling a piece of land that
Has-
that have a septic easement, that have a septic easement on it.
It's always favorable to have ownership of your septic. You can, you're right, Eric, you guys are right. We could look at doing a 3-lot subdivision here, with the back piece being deferred.
You say
Meaning,
deferred,
deferred means there's no wastewater for it, mostly wetland anyway.
right?
The neighbors can buy it, we can do a boundary line adjustment, whatever.
Or we just don't sell it. We just keep it. All
Conserve
right,
it?
Habitat
Could we
only wants,
conserve it?
only wants a quarter acre, so the town keeps it. We,
Conserve a quarter of an acre?
yeah, I think a lot of this brainstorming is best
Okay,
done for
all right,
JCDC.
yeah.
But go ahead, Todd.
You just mentioned 3-lot subdivision, and they're talking about septic up in the back. That's a shared property for the 3-lot subdivision. If you take 100-foot septic system, pre-treat those 2 lots, that becomes a 50-foot septic system. You can put both houses in the same septic.
We don't like doing.
We don't want to,
because-
yeah.
Because if you, with shared septic, I would stay away from it, because if one person is careless and the other one is,
But it's been on an easement property anyhow, so it's gonna be a shared property, so.
well, it could be.
Yeah.
But again, having control of the land that's under your septic is always a plus. We try not to burden easements on
Yeah.
someone else's property.
I suggest we brainstorm a little bit
At the
next week at
JCDC.
JCDC, but
Yep.
but if it's truly lot size that's opposing what we're talking about, then fine. Take a quarter and we'll keep 1.12 or whatever's whatever back there, and we just keep
I
it
just, seriously, why would the town keep a piece of property that's landlocked?
to make this deal work the right way,
Because Habitat won't take it.
because Habitat won't take
No,
it.
no, what I'm saying is, approach the neighbors about selling it to them.
Well, sure.
Do a boundary line adjustment.
Yeah, we can do that
Staff
too, but
approved.
Chuck, go ahead.
New zoning regulations have a maximum setback of 25 feet from the road.
It's. Actually, it depends. It's either 5 feet minimum, 25 feet maximum. Is what I'm saying.
Right, a maximum of 25 feet.
Yeah.
So this is less than 25 feet? What you're proposing?
Yeah, that's because of the buffer. We have a wetland buffer that supersedes the town setback.
Okay, well, I know it was a ton of work to get this far, so I don't mean to like downplay that. It's really cool that we have them talking to us. I think we need a little more discussion.
So are you going to discuss and give us JCDC direction?
No, I
JCDC
think
JCDC is gonna discuss
no, I think us, you, me, Peter on the JCDC discuss it next week
on Thursday
and do more thinking.
Okay. I'm gonna tell Robin to hold off doing anything that, because again, I don't want him to expend that time.
get deep in, right, exactly.
What would he be doing if we said go ahead tonight?
They would drop the purchase option.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for the
All right.
presentation.
Thank you very much.
Good work, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Uh-oh. I lost my agenda. The shame. Oh, no, it's right here. I just scrolled down. All right, what do we got next? Now. Underhill Jericho Fire Department requests a training site. Now, I wonder what site they're gonna use. Any idea where that site would be? What are you thinking?
We had a map of the site, we could.
Yeah.
My name is Brian Matthew, Assistant Chief of the Underhill Jericho Fire Department. Todd Fisher, the fire chief. Under Todd Fisher, I do the department's trainings. One of the topics that came up was brought to my attention was that this Railroad Street address, Railroad Circle address, that house has been utilized for training in the past. We have not utilized that house for quite some time, and the understanding was
When was it used in the past?
probably in the last, actually, probably within the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, last
just
year and
did
a
it-
half?
you just did it without us knowing?
No, it was done just before, was it you guys took?
That was before ownership.
No, we bought it like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
I've been on the board for 2 full years.
It's probably been that little bit.
Andy was
The
still
last
here, Chris was only here for a year, it was with Andy.
While we owned
And
it.
it's been, it's been.
It's while the town owned it is what I was getting at. Okay.
Yes, the last town administrator.
Yes.
Okay.
So as you guys are aware, the fire service as a whole is a very dangerous, risky job. We do have a training facility, that we have access to, but it's not quite the same as operating in a real residential home. Real residential homes offer us more opportunities, more realistic opportunities that we can put members into scenarios. Training scenarios that are controlled, that are safe, to challenge them and give them growth and experience before they arrive at a real residential building fire where there's a lot more obstacles, such as potential victims, potential other hazardous conditions and whatnot. The railroad circle address was a home owned by the town. My question started when I first reached out to Mr. Johnson to ask him about it. He sent me to Mr. Booth. The question I have is this residential property that the town owns able to be utilized in any capacity for any training that we can bring our members with realistic training? Now, when that comes to people's mind, they're like, oh my God, they want to burn this house down and stuff like that. No. NFPA, VOSHA, all kinds of regulations exist. They keep changing, expanding, and becoming stricter and stricter on the fire service. Is burning an option? Yes, it's not something we're looking to entertain. We have artificial smoke machines that we can turn the structure into zero visibility. These smoke machines are completely safe for you. They're non-toxic. They don't do anything to the environment. It's like going to a dance with a smoke machine. It just provides.
Is it literally a smoke machine like a
Yeah,
heavy metal
they're
concert?
a little bit larger
Okay,
than
yeah,
what
so-
you
A little more concentrated.
Yeah.
a little bit more concentrated. But the benefit to these smoke machines is while people are learning and while people are training, when they maybe have a panic situation or an unfamiliar situation that they're trying to learn through, we can actually take them off their mask. We can talk with them, we can coach them through it because they can breathe that in.
Yeah.
When we train in a real live fire situation, we can't because it's just like being in a real fire. We gotta pull them out, then get them to calm down, right? So it's a tool we've added to our toolbox to increase our training, try to make our training more realistic, more frequent. So we're not looking to burn, we're looking to potentially use our artificial smoke. Some of the training evolutions we'd want to do have to do with ground ladders, right? Anytime we get somebody off the ground and we get them up in the air, the risk is higher, danger is higher. We need to practice that. We need to make sure people are good on ladders, adequate on ladders, or can identify that maybe I'm not the person that should be on the ladder, right? That's great. That's okay. We have a place for those people. We want to utilize everybody that's willing to come to us and volunteer. But we got to find out where they're comfortable before we get to a real serious situation. So ground ladders, even just something simple as ventilation. We go to gas leaks all the time. We go to burnt food calls all the time where we're using our positive pressure fans to move this smoke or ideal H atmosphere out of the structure, right? So as simple as we smoke up the building, we set up our fans, see how it works, how it doesn't work, what's safe, what's not, because there are actually, as simple as that sounds, setting up a fan and blowing gas out of a building can be extremely dangerous. Where are we blowing the gas? Are we blowing the gas through our fan? Are we bringing it towards our truck? Are we bringing it towards a neighbor's house? Those are all things we're constantly assessing and looking at, right? So it gives us more training opportunity with that. Scenarios such as firefighters searching for a potential victim or a child within a structure. That's a reality. Doesn't matter where you live in the country. It's a reality. Different times of the day, night, whatever it might be. We need to train our people to be ready to encounter that situation and be successful as quick as possible. Some other factors would be if a firefighter goes down, our tactical and our operations now change in that procedure from we're still suppressing fire and fighting fire, but now I've got crews going in to rescue the firefighter that's now injured, right? And understanding that everybody on our fire department has a full-time job because we're a volunteer-based
fire organization, right? So we have plumbers, we have carpenters, we have engineers, we have some really high profile individuals that do IT work, right? And they all come together and volunteer their time to take these risks for the community. So I need to try to offer them the best and most safest way that they can become proficient at these skills. So that was a lot. And I'm okay if you say we can't utilize this house for this training because of, after hearing the talk tonight, there is a potential of sale and stuff like that. Doesn't mean when we go there, we're gonna smash out windows, blow holes in the walls, cut holes in the floors, right? We can tailor that down. We potentially have a house coming up in Underhill that we're gonna be able to destroy everything we want to destroy in, which will bring us that extra training opportunity, right? But it's another opportunity that I wanted to ask and see if there was parameters we could talk about.
Is it of use to you if we say yes, as long as someone can go to that house the next day and be like, what was, no one was here? Like, if we said that's a parameter, like, yeah, you can use it, but we need to be able to have no idea you were even here the next day.
That's kind of the parameter that we had the last time. No breaking windows. I think only 50% of the windows actually open.
Yeah.
Because we used it for a ventilation scenario back when we did it before.
Yeah. Okay.
We can tailor down
To whatever.
our training,
Yeah.
right? We can go from extreme where we do what we gotta do 100% down to like, all right, this building, we can only do
Light.
X,
light,
Y, Z.
yeah.
You know, there's gonna be dirt from our boots. There's gonna be stuff like that that we can mitigate and somewhat clean up, right? But we're not gonna go, if this house
Knocking
is
stuff
coming
down,
down,
yeah.
it's not being destroyed, we're not gonna destroy it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know there's some questions about insurance. We are fully insured. All of our members are insured under us, whether they're training or they're on a fire call. It's workers' comp. It all goes under the same fields. We do have, you know, if things get damaged, stuff like that, our insurance does cover. Like any other insurance would cover, so we are fully insured in that aspect. And then another thing, I think another one of the questions was about notifying neighbors. Notifying neighbors, we can make a flyer, have the 3 chiefs' contact numbers on the flyer, so that they can contact any one of us. I think what's important when you're close to neighboring people like that is having that contact a few days or a week ahead of time.
And knowing like this is actually an emergency,
This-
everything's
this-
fine.
This is what we're looking to accomplish.
I think we had the kids from one of the neighbors come over the last.
Don't want to watch.
They can come watch.
Come and.
How often would
That was
you?
my question. Is this a
How often?
one day, one time, or is this?
The trucks come in a big loud thing?
It can be loud and it's most likely gonna be in the evenings, right? Because of people work during the day and we train in the evening into the night. We can tailor that, right? So we're not keeping people up late. We can go there and we can limit it to an hour, 2 hours, like that 7 to 8 time frame is most likely. But we can also adjust and see if people are willing to come in on Saturdays and do a training or whatnot during the daytime. There are options, right, that we can adjust for, and it may not even work for us. We may not be able to utilize it the way we'd like to. But I still gotta ask the question if it is any
And
option.
how often?
Well, we train every Tuesday nights are our training. If we incorporate some Saturdays, would be more than that. I would like to say there's a window of this house is gonna be refurbed in June, right? Say you're gonna move forward, it's gonna go in June. From now till June, I'm gonna dump all my training into this building while I have it, right? Because it's a great asset for us.
So that's every Tuesday night.
Potentially every
And
Tuesday,
some
other than
Saturdays.
some meeting nights that we have, but training nights would probably be about 3 days a month that we'd be there.
They'd be out. They'd be there.
It's 7 to 9, normally our training.
Yeah.
You mentioned parking. I think the last time we ended up with 2 fire trucks in the driveway with our squad. And then the other 2 or 3 trucks actually parked on Buxton Lane.
And do you guys handle the outreach and communication with neighbors?
Yeah, that's not a problem at all. Yep, absolutely. Yep, one of the chiefs, myself, will reach out to them, go talk to them, hear their concerns. Well, if they wanna come check it out, participate, I'll put them on a hose line if they wanna come play, right? Like, the more the merrier. If I can recruit just about anybody in the
Right,
town to come
right,
help us,
right.
I'll take the help.
And do you know if you've trained there with the existing neighbors? I mean, they're already.
I don't.
They're all the same people.
They're all the same. Did we communicate with them?
No,
Directly?
I don't think so. No, they just came over.
Thank you, over talk, right, so. There will be some noise, obviously, trucks will be running, we have to have trucks running to pump them. Generators running to power our equipment. The primary noise would be trucks running so that they can operate the pumps, but it's kind of like. We're not gonna spray water in a structure that's gonna be utilized again, right? If it was coming down and we knew being torn, we'd probably spray some water in it. But obviously the structure's still gonna be utilized, so there
Right.
wouldn't be any water flowing in the structure. But it's kind of a multi-tier thing, so we have pump operators that drive trucks, run pumps, need to get their hands on the pumps. So they're gonna pump the hand lines for the crews that are gonna be training inside or doing, so it's multi-tier, right? We have people that do different functions on the department. And we're gonna throw, our goal would be to throw as many skills as we can for all the individual people. So. And again, this is not a, we have to have, it's a question of.
Does this work?
Where do we
Right,
wanna-
does this work?
Does
Right.
it work?
I guess my question is, in light of the discussion we had just prior to this, do we feel comfortable making a decision? I mean, I want to support you guys training and the use of this building, but do we feel comfortable deciding that it's okay on behalf of the neighbors? Because without, sort of getting their buy-in ahead of time, and given that we are doing work on the property on this property that they have feelings about, does that make us more sensitive?
Mhm.
Should that make us more sensitive to this and their feelings about this training?
Those are all valid.
Those are good points.
Yep. It's all, yeah, it's very valid. I
Wonder
mean,
if we
On
could
that-
time it to, oh, go ahead, Amy.
Sorry, I want to hear a little bit more. You mentioned that there might be an opportunity for somewhere in Underhill where you could do similar training. I want to understand if that might be a little more remote, maybe not as in sale, anything like that.
there's a potential home that's coming down. A new home was built on the property. And this is all we're just in the talks about it now. This wouldn't be a burn situation, but it's a property that is coming down, that there is a potential that we can utilize that structure for a window of time, right? So nothing's set in stone on any of this, so I would love to say 100%, yeah, we're going in there and we're gonna be able to do stuff. It may afford us a little bit more opportunity because the building is potentially coming down eventually. And in our job, a lot of what we do is breaking things and gaining access to where you wouldn't normally want to gain access. We're good demolition crews, if you get what I'm saying, but yeah, so that's a potential. This was just another potential that we kind of knew about, but didn't know the status of it. So yeah.
Do you know when you'll know?
We'll know.
Do,
Yep, and it's okay to say no.
Sorry, I
because-
missed. It was do you know when you'll know when that Underhill? No.
I do not know. No, I do not know 100%.
could we put in a stipulation that you talk to the neighbors that will be affected, just the
Yep.
immediate ones, and ask them to call the town within a certain window
Yep.
to voice whatever concerns they have?
Yep.
And then we go from there?
Yeah.
Good, that's clever. I like that.
Thank you.
I have no problem going and talking with them.
It's on Paula.
It's, yeah.
Can we flip that a little bit and can we say yes? And we reserve the right to change that if neighbors come barreling into us. So rather than saying like, oh, you go and find all the neighbors, make them all say yes, tell them how to complain. And then if they all say it's okay, then you can go. To just say like, yeah, this seems reasonable. We know 3 of the neighbors, the 3, we've had JCDC's had contact with 3 neighbors. One of them was here tonight, and Wayne is,
Yep.
and they were all there last time they did it too.
Yep.
So,
My thought would be to say they can do it, but just know that if neighbors come in here and start burning us an effort,
So if we write a little blurb on a little paper on the very bottom with the three neighbors' signatures, and we just bring it to you guys at the end and say, we've got everybody saying yes, and just drop it off.
Sure, yeah, I think not even, I think not
So
even, I
we
think
could
just,
say yes.
we could just say yes and
Stop it.
right, we just say yes, you guys start, and then the first time you go, we get a bunch of phone calls, say, hey, sorry, the neighbors.
Yes, but that sort of puts the burden on the homeowners to complain. As opposed to.
Except, I
having these
think that,
guys reach
except,
out.
right, but I think they're gonna reach out and just say, I think, hey, we're gonna be doing this, just so you know, welcome to come watch, it's not gonna be.
I'm not gonna just call them, I'm gonna go
Right.
visit them and answer questions and talk to them about it. I want them to be informed. I mean,
Right.
we're here for the community,
Right.
right? We're here providing a service to the community and to protect the community. So the last thing we want to do is intentionally upset the community. Especially when it comes.
I think given that the
training.
three surrounding neighbors have all been there for
Yep.
over 10 years, they were all part of it last time.
Yep.
And I think it's a pretty low risk in terms of making people upset. I think it's not gonna be.
Clearly with especially what I've heard, there's potential for this structure coming to
Right.
become a house again.
Right.
We're not gonna go punch out windows.
Right.
Cut holes in the roof.
Yeah.
Right, we're gonna tailor that training down for this property, but, right, what's the window before this, obviously you guys are working on a lot of things with this house still. So.
So that's my instinct, speaking for myself, to say yes with the right to pull back at any time if we want, and with the understanding that you guys will reach out to at least Wayne, Phil, and the woman's name I can never remember, Diana.
And if you guys want to proceed that way too, the first thing I'm gonna do is go talk to them
Yeah.
before we show up there. So if they say flat out right then.
Right then,
I'll call you up.
And say,
the
never
next time.
mind.
We're not going,
Okay.
yeah.
right.
That works.
Do we
Need a
want a
motion on
motion?
that, or just-
That way it's an official stance? Sure.
Sure, I'd make a motion to approve the UJFD's use of the Railroad Circle property as a training site with the stipulation that they will do no damage to the house and will contact the three surrounding neighbors to let them know what's gonna happen, and we reserve the right to rescind this authorization at any time for any reason.
Second the
second
motion.
We both did.
Amy
We
seconded.
both second.
Peter made the motion, Amy seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 You got it.
Please reach out to us as things progress.
Yeah, in terms of changes in the property.
We gotta stop because of XYZ, let us know and we'll
Yep.
stop. All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for all you're doing for us.
Yeah, thank you.
Next on the agenda is an update on the Chittenden Solid Waste District from Leslie Milton. Leslie on? Yep.
Kind of might have it.
Go ahead, Leslie.
I'm trying to get my video. I don't know why. I'm having problems. Sorry that I really wanted to be on video because I know there are people on the select board who probably don't know me. Oh, okay, here we're good. I want to start with very, very brief background. I'm trying to make this very brief. It's been a long meeting. I have been the Jericho representative on the Board of Commissioners of the Chittenden Solid Waste District. I've lost track, but I'm sure it's more than 12 years. During my time as a member of the Board of Commissioners, I have also been, at one time or another, a member of the Finance Committee and therefore very much involved in the kinds of matters that are now requiring serious attention. The Chittenden Solid Waste District handles the recycling of materials to keep them out of the landfill. We have an aging and now obsolete facility in Williston, and probably now 3 years ago, we embarked on a project to build a replacement facility because the Williston facility is too small for the growth of Chittenden County and its equipment is obsolete. And more appropriate, more efficient equipment can't be moved into that facility. In order to finance a new materials recovery facility, which is what the recycling facility is called, we call it the MRF, MRF for short. This is now a $22 million plus project. Most of it, or more than half, is being financed through grants and a loan, which all the member towns of the district had to approve, including Jericho. Some of it is also being financed by capital reserves of Chittenden Solid Waste District. Something over a month ago, the major contract, we were due to make $3 million in progress payments to the engineering firm that is under contract to design and shepherd this huge project. And that contractor is called ReArch. It's a local Vermont firm. The management of the district learned, unfortunately, that the $3 million payment that was due in January and February got scammed and was captured by a bad actor through internet communications. As soon as the management, and I should say that the executive director, Sarah Reeves, is on this meeting by Zoom, so that if there are any questions that you would like to direct to Sarah, she's available to you. But immediately this was reported to the authorities, and the FBI and the state police are conducting a thorough investigation. The staff of the Chittenden Solid Waste District have done their own investigation and report. The Board of Commissioners is in the process of exploring the manner in which we might retain our own investigative expert to look into how this happened and why it happened and who the responsible parties are. But none of that is known at this time because the investigations are ongoing. Needless to say, the district is reviewing its available financial resources to assure that this project can be completed. It was, if I recall correctly, and Sarah will correct me if I have it wrong, we were hopeful that it would, the facility would be in beta operations by the end of this calendar year. So a lot of progress has been made, equipment has been ordered, and now we are faced with essentially $3 million that has evaporated. Whether it can be recaptured is still unknown. So this is just a very preliminary report that I felt obligated to bring to the Select Board as a member of the Chittenden Solid Waste District. That is to say, the town is a member of this district, which is its own municipality, because it has been in the press. I've already been contacted by one of my neighbors who knows that I'm the representative to the board to find out what's going on, but it's still early days in terms of these multiple levels of investigation. So at this point, if you have any questions, Sarah or I would be happy to respond to the best of our ability.
I have two questions. One, I don't know if it's for you, Leslie, or for Sarah. One, is there any kind of insurance that will bail you guys out? And if not, is it fair to be thinking in terms of, okay, so $3 million is gonna get divided among all the municipalities, we're gonna have to cough up money to cover this?
To the best of, well, Sarah will.
I'm happy to talk to that. Yeah, I'm happy to
Okay.
talk to that, Leslie. Thank you. And this is actually one of the cautions I'll be bringing to the member cities and towns when I come to talk to you about our budget, is to please, as soon as you can, double check your insurance coverages. And also please review your networks, all of your internet network. We did a review of our networks and we found no breaches. However, our insurance coverage, and it is through VLCT, as I might hazard a guess yours is not adequate to the coverage, to the need. So we had been advised by VLCT to seek outside additional coverage. Turns out for a number of things. So we're learning a lot more about kind of what our needs are as a result of this. Regarding recovering the $3 million from our member towns, that is not how we're going to approach this at all. We do not receive any funding from our member towns. We're not part of your property taxes, for example. And we are going to be recovering, making up that difference through a variety of pathways. We are currently looking at our remaining expenditures budgeted for this fiscal 26. We had just finished our proposed budget for 27. We are taking another look at that proposed budget and seeing basically how we can get down to a pretty bare bones basic level baseline budget, and looking for some savings there. And then likely we'll take out a small bridge loan. So we will not be turning to our cities and towns and asking you for any money to help cover this.
Did you say we don't give you any money? Is that true?
It is true.
That's true. We are
Didn't
not
that-
a line item in your budget.
Someone can, which makes sense. I now can think of that, but how are you, like in like one sentence or less, how are you funded?
We're funded basically through user fees. So
Get fees in?
Oh, really?
we go to our
Yeah,
drop-off
Cost money to
centers.
throw stuff away.
Yeah. I didn't
Yeah,
know it
drop-off
covered it. I
centers,
didn't.
A recycling facility, so people
Right.
pay to access our facilities and have us process material for them. And we also have there's a tax on trash that is charged at the landfill to any hauler who brings Chittenden County trash up to Coventry.
Okay. $8.32 put on a card. Okay, great.
Sarah and Leslie, I'm just really sorry
Yeah.
that happened
Yeah.
to you. That's devastating and
Yeah, that's no fun.
That's the word. It's absolutely devastating. And as Leslie said, we're making such great progress on the facility. The steel is going up and it's amazing. And we do hope to be beta testing by, you gave us a little extra time, a little less time, probably January, February of next year. But by this time next year, we will be running material through that facility. So we are moving forward, and we will not be doing it on the backs of our cities and towns. And we will figure it out as we do.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. What a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Good
Leslie.
night.
Next on the agenda is revisit and discuss the Jericho Center speed control options. I wanted to say tonight, I really wanted to have Jack Evans from Local Motion here, and he wasn't available tonight. But I also promised people that we would talk about this in March. So I thought it would be good to have a conversation. I would like us to not make a decision on what we're going to do tonight, but I'd just like to have a discussion amongst the board of what makes sense. I just wanted to set that, and hopefully we can get at least. I don't know if we need Cody or I think Local Motion is the more.
Send one of the members from.
Yeah.
And as well as Jack. I just haven't heard back from Jack.
That's fine.
So late.
Yeah, that's fine. So we'll get them back, but it'll be good to have a little discussion about it first. We still have how much money left, Paula?
13,000. thousand, I believe.
We have 13 grand left to spend, on speed control. Kind of designated towards the center. And we talked a bunch about this last summer, and when we did, when we talked about pulling the speed bumps up, we had a little discussion about what we're gonna do. Take it away, board.
I will say that I want to talk to Jack about East Ave in Burlington. Which has, I think I use the word chicane when I look at it. I'm calling it up on Google Maps right now, but it basically, it blocks, it forces you to, as you're driving along, half of your lane gets taken up by like a planter essentially, and you've only got a lane and a half to work with, and you have to slow down and kind of go into the other lane, and then another planter sort of diagonally across creates the same thing in the opposite lane, and just naturally forces you to slow way down. And so I'm interested in hearing what his thoughts are about that and how effective he finds them to be, et cetera, as I think that is a very cool way to slow people down.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it on Google
I
Maps.
think it's under trees.
Well, I'm doing the street view, but I'm wondering if the street view is new enough. I don't know when those went
Yeah,
in, but
how they get up.
they feel a little
This went
new.
in, I think, last year, so it might not be on Street View.
Yeah, it's not there yet.
But
Okay.
it's a very similar thing to Eric, if you've seen in the UK, like how they do that, where like one has to stop so the other can go.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite so extreme that someone has to stop. I think that two cars can still pass, but you're just like,
But
oh,
you're
no,
aware.
I gotta slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that do to the bikers?
Same thing. They'll have to funnel through that same path.
And how
I
about
mean,
the
everyone,
dogs?
Yep.
they can get,
can get
I'm pretty confident they can get through as well. Yeah. Yeah. I think nobody can't get through. Everyone needs to keep give and take.
So are we looking to local motion to be the experts to advise a solution, or
I
are they
am.
among the experts, and do they have the
They've
expertise?
just got a ton of experience
Yeah,
with it. Not necessarily that we have to do what they say, but more like what
I would say like, oh, actually that works on East Ave because
Yeah.
East Ave has the trees that do this, and it really doesn't gonna work over there because you guys have more of an open space. What would be better would be, and I think they're just able to talk. They just are experts where I'm not. I just know that when I go on East Ave, I'm like, oh wow, this really slows me down in a very non-aggressive.
and kind of attractive, right? Like there's stuff in those planners. Like it's like a triangle that kind of comes out from the curb. At least I'm remembering a triangle.
Yep.
Maybe it wasn't. And then inside that within the curb is like
Planting
a little tree or I don't know, something.
Do we have people that take care of those types of planting?
The road crew.
Yeah,
You
but
hire
I
another
think they take
dog.
care of those. Like, I see her sitting in the room. The only person I've seen taking care of some of the planter things are Jessica and some other community groups.
These will be a little closer to your house, Jessica. So
Exactly. Put something else on your plate.
Oh.
So I'm not saying like that's the answer.
Yeah.
Conversation over. But that's just I found that very effective.
yeah, and when you brought that up, I had recently been down that road and kind of felt the same way. I also like, dare I say it, I like the speed bumps on Cochrane Road in Richmond. And I had done a little bit of research in talking with Richmond. They built those for not too much money. I think those are effective without being as jarring, as impactful to the cars. You do actually have to slow down, but it's not like, it's not quite as dramatic. But I also heard a Richmond Select Board meeting where they were talking about putting another one a little bit on the other side. So like Cochrane Road is here, the round church is here, and then you're going up towards Huntington, like just past that intersection. They were talking about putting one in there, and there was a lot of people that
People going
were
insane.
I mean, I didn't watch till see what they decided, but there was a lot of commentary about how they really don't want another one. So what I would like to see, and one of the things that Bernie last year when we were talking about this whole thing, Bernie kind of hosted me and we went around a little walk around the center. And I would really like to see this year that we get on top of some of like the aesthetics, like painting the crosswalk at the store, and like there's a little, I don't know what you call them, but they're like, it's like braille for your feet where you're gonna cross, those little things, like that's broken. I would like to see us maintain what we have there, and it's not a slam at anything, but like that is kind of like our little pride and joy center of Jericho. And I'd like to see not even necessarily additive. I mean, I know we need to add something for the speed, but like
Just
maintain what's there. I think is really important, and I'd like to put that in the road crews ear early so that they're not like hearing about it midway through and they've already got a schedule in front of them. So I'd love to get them thinking about that now.
That Jacob did mention, about like the whole Jericho Center and the speed, is if we were to do something, would we maybe take out that hump right at the store and make an official crosswalk, it's, flat, instead of using that hump at the store where it's delineated as a crosswalk, and then having the humps or whatever at each end of entering the center.
Why doesn't he like the crosswalk on the hump? I guess I would have said
That's
just
my thought.
paint the crosswalk.
On the hump, I was
Because
thinking.
that hump, when it was put in, it had to be specifically painted like brick because it's raised.
Oh, because of the rules or whatever say that? Oh, okay.
Accessibility.
Still the same, that it has to be painted in that way?
Yes,
Really? It has to be painted brick.
as far as I've been informed, that's it. When we first put it in, it was brick. It was red brick that kind of delineated because it was a hump.
And what happens if we don't
necessarily.
do it that way? Do they just come and arrest the select board or?
Right.
I think you could potentially look like the white crosswalk.
But if it's on the hump, I wonder about mobility issues for people who need to use the crosswalk.
Right, exactly, yeah.
It's on a hump.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, the hump is kind of.
The hump is not very hump.
It's not
right
very
now.
humpy.
Oh, it's not.
Jim, under 3 minutes, please.
12 or 15 years ago, Greg Wilson was the town engineer. And there were 3 traffic calming things that were designed. And there's several very inexpensive traffic calming devices. They're called stop signs. And because of the backing cars slowing and turning, when you read the international code for traffic, the pedestrians, the cars entering and exiting, the trucks going in and out, creates an environment where you're supposed to do it. I made the mistake when the hump went in of going into the bathroom during the discussion. When it came back out, we had a $36,000 incorrectly designed and subsequently incorrectly built. And that's why it's crushing. You have to build a traffic platform so that the distances fits between the axles of the fire trucks and stuff. But it has to be made out of concrete so that it doesn't compress. And then if you want to stamp it, it's easy to stamp wet concrete. The stamping is never going to work on bituminous pavement. So that traffic hump was not designed correctly and it wasn't built correctly. So if you want to slow it down, but right there at the store, 3 stop signs and turn Jericho Center Circle at Brown's Trace into a T intersection. Stop the speed traffic from going down the circle and going out onto Brown's Trace, which is extremely hazardous with the sidewalk that's there, coming to a crosswalk. So if you put 2 concrete built humps at either end of the center and then put 3 stop signs at the store, So that when you're coming down from the circle, you stop. Because if you go to the right, you do not stop.
There's a yield, there's a yield there now?
Huh?
There's a yield there now?
No, there's nothing. Listen, go, so the
There's
garbage.
no stop
trucks-
sign
the
there
garbage
coming that
trucks-
way?
The garbage trucks come down Bulger Hill Road. Go around the corner, and if any kids were running out of the church, splat. So Greg Wilson designed a T intersection with 3 stop signs at Bulger Hill Road by the library. So that, because we had people coming off of Brown's Trace onto Jericho Center Circle, trying to beat their friends driving on Brown's Trace, doing 45 miles an hour, coming around the circle. So that's why I actually went and got the Jersey barriers.
I see what you
Sort of
mean.
intimidating. So we've done a whole bunch of studies. This has all been done, and then nobody implemented it correctly.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is stop signs. Chuck?
One thing that we had before that I thought would work really well and was inexpensive were those clown signs with the, you know, they're rubber, a thick rubber base with a sign that says 25 on it.
In the middle, like
In the middle, like on the line, on the
Right across.
Mhm.
And you can't do it in the winter, obviously. but
Sure, yeah.
People get used to it.
Mhm.
They have them in, I've often seen them in Essex Junction. Just kind of as you're pulling in on, say, Route 117, and there's, you know, we've had them before, so they might be around somewhere.
And are you saying, you're saying that in general, or you're talking, or are you saying you think that should be in the crosswalk at the store or before?
We used to have, I think we had at least 2, maybe 3. One was at the intersection of Plains Road and Brown's Trace, which was sort of announcing, okay, now it's 25. And that's the one I'm least sure of. I know we had them in the 2 crosswalks. In the crosswalk by the community center and the crosswalk south of the green.
Right.
By Cleary's house.
Yep.
Oh,
So how are we gonna make a decision?
we're not tonight.
I know, but how do we move this forward?
Well, we're gonna have Jack here and we'll talk through things and then
Could-
I think when he's there,
Would he be able to come with some numbers,
Numbers like what?
what it would cost?
Oh.
Or we just give him the budget and say, what can you do?
Or we could do that, I think we could just, I mean, I'm hearing a couple ideas
Yeah.
and say like, hey, we talked about these 4 things. Can you come and give us your opinion on those ideas for this specific piece of land, piece of road, and give us ideas of what it will cost?
anyway, go ahead. Chuck was still going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I do think those are expensive. I think you just open a catalog, you find them, and maybe they're in the town.
Might be in the town garage,
We've
right?
had them. The second thing is that in the most recent zoning revisions, there's a beautiful picture of what it is the town is trying to accomplish in village centers. And basically, it's people pushing baby carriages and walking. That's a, you know, it's a beautiful thing. Which is unusual because in Richmond, there's only 850 feet where we're requiring people to live next to the road. And in Waterbury, it's only 1,500 feet, but in Jericho, it's about 14,000 feet. We're expecting to have this beautiful town center. You know, that's what the town zoning now says. And Jericho Center is a mile. And then there's a couple miles on Route 15. So I encourage you to be thinking about not just Jericho Center, but I believe that you have made a commitment to the people who are now being forced to build houses right next to the road to ultimately turn those town centers into like village centers. In my view, the only place in Jericho that works is Park Street. But in terms of that sort of downtown Richmond, downtown Waterbury feel, but you have made the commitment to be equally ambitious about getting the traffic down in all 3 village centers down to 25 miles an hour. So I encourage you to think of this as a 3 village center discussion and not just one.
Fair enough.
Michelle Morris, to Chuck's point, kind of building on that, has the town professionally or contracted with anybody to professionally identify areas of concern throughout the town proper highways? And then prioritize those, because I remember this was $30,000 or something from town meeting that somebody just said, I think this should go to Jericho Center. It's like, well, wait a minute. There's issues where on roads I travel too, of safety and children at risk. So I would just encourage that if that hasn't been done, can we look at it in a broader picture, to Chuck's point, and say, where are areas of concern, why, and not just because some resident said, this is the data I found and I'm gonna present it how I want to.
Yeah, I do think the person that brought it up was trying really hard to include the entire town. It may have not gotten heard that way, but there was, and there are studies elsewhere in town. What there isn't is exactly the way you framed it, of like, has somebody come and examined every road, and based on that examination, where would you put this? You know, like, I don't think we've done it quite like that. But we do have very recent data from Skunk Hollow, and there's a few others, but like, I don't think exactly as you're saying it, like, here's Jericho, here's what I would do from this professional thing. And I don't know how to get that, but it sounds like a good idea. There's someone online that hasn't had a chance to go yet, Jim, then I'll get to you. Bernie?
Yes, I'd first like to respond to the comment made, as I was the one that asked for the 30,000. A little bit of history on that was that repeatedly, community, not just myself, many people came to the select board. And at least for me, the response from the select board, Catherine in particular, said, look, we'd like to help you, but there's no money in the budget. Repeatedly, I heard that. So other people in town suggested, and I finally agreed to be the representative to bring it forward, to say, then let's go ask for the money if that's the barrier, and then we can discuss what we'll do with it. So that's how that came about to be, is for requesting the money. As far as it being Jericho Center, that is a misinterpretation of what I read off as the request. It was a request for Jericho as a town, and I was also asking within that, the Jericho Center would be looked at, particularly since the CCRP report had come out and given us firm data, which was the second thing that we were told was preventing any action from taking place. That's my response. My comment tonight is, first of all, I should say good evening. I'm Bernie Paquette, speaking as part of the Caring About Safer and Slower Street initiative. The 2024 CCRPC report tells us over 1,000 vehicles, over 1,000, are traveling 10 to 15 miles an hour over our 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. That's a 10-fold increase since 2013. And if you watch the trajectory over those number of years, as it continually increases, you can assume, I think comfortably, that that's going to continue if nothing's done. At these speeds, a pedestrian, as I've said before in June, has if they were hit by a vehicle, has a 40% chance of dying. 40%. And many vehicles, as I reported, and you have copies in my notes that I sent a couple days ago of those same graphs from the CCRPC report, that says many vehicles are even traveling faster, up to 70 miles an hour. Addressing traffic calming measures supports, as we've talked many times, both town safety and the town plan objectives. So I'm hopeful that we'll move past the Brown's Trace speed hump misstep, which was really about specifications for that implementation, toward a more palatable but equally effective, very important traffic calming measures. Yes, the trial had design issues, but as I offered in June, supported by the state data and by the CCRPC report that the town paid for, many other proven options remain available. And some of them have been mentioned tonight, but I offered many technical details behind them and what the projected speed slowdowns were. Most importantly, the town has access to professional guidance. So through consultation with transportation experts, like the Chittenden County Regional Planning Commission, Jack, examples from Burlington, Jericho can determine, I think, the measures that best fit our roads and our community. So I encourage the select board to use these professional resources to move forward with thoughtfully designed, appropriately scaled traffic calming measures to help achieve safer and slower streets through Jericho. When we assumed the car, we did not lay aside the pedestrian. Let's work together for a common cause of safer streets in all of Jericho. And by the way, that June presentation, I really wish people would go back and look at it again. And the CCRCP reports, which has tons of data that we paid for. And one of the things offered in my June report was the example that Burlington has with how to prioritize locations in a town because there's limited amount of money. How do we determine which areas to work on first? There was a process offered, and I offered that we could maybe not verbatim, but at least look at their process and see how they determine, instead of having these loose discussions without even looking at the technical details or pointing fingers at, it's Jericho Center versus somebody else. It's, hey, this is the town as a whole. We should be looking at the town as a whole. Thank you.
Thanks, Bernie. Jim, you had another comment?
With respect to Bernie's money, that was intended to be seed money, and we were supposed to designate people that would be responsible. Let's call them 3 public works commissioners, people that could look at what was most effective, which doesn't take brain surgery. You connect down to what we call a bottleneck, and then you put a concrete pipe there, put the plants inside of it, and it's amazingly effective. But you need to designate some authority to some people that are going to get this done. The 30 grand was intended to be seed money to be used by these people to effectively implement traffic calming all over Jericho and attract grants and donations and get really smart about the devices. And we're not the only ones that are doing this. This is actually pretty easy to do. When we build a development, we do this as part of the build for the development because we do not want the vehicles traveling, particularly the trucks, at a high rate of speed.
Okay, thanks, Jim. I really think that Jack Valley is the guy. I really do. He does this all the time. He participates in all kinds of towns across Chittenden County and maybe beyond Chittenden County. I do think he's the guy. The reason I wanted to have the discussion tonight is because I told so many people we would do it in March, and I'm trying to keep with that. We wanted to have both him and Cody here, and it didn't work. So I'm like, why don't we just talk? Because we get some input. So I thought it might be good to hear before we get to decision time. So professionals to help us with this.
An owner within the authority of the select board. You got the Conservation Commission, you got the Planning Commission, create an owner that's going to drive this project, because all of the values of the property that are exposed to this risk, when we do a realty evaluation, it's considerably less than if the average speed is within the speed limit. So there's really big ramifications. And then if we hurt somebody or we make it uncomfortable, we're killing the store with the high-speed traffic. Because you walk across the street and you've got a garbage truck coming in at 35 miles an hour. I bought a radar. I'm tracking it 53 miles an hour through the center.
Okay. I got you, Jim. Thank you. We do need to move on. Is there any other comments from the board on this matter of?
I guess my only comment would be, we've heard some good ideas. I would hope that when we communicate with Local Motion, that we ask them to come with a full width of their expertise and not just comment on the ideas that we've heard, because they are the experts.
Yeah.
So that would be my ask.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is you, Chris. Discussion on the Jericho Town Library.
Yes. So I have some updates on the structural repair project for the library. And I want to say at the outset that I have not yet looked at the accessibility piece of the work or the addition I've really been focused so far on the structural repairs.
Which is the structural repairs are what was approved by the voters.
Correct, which is why I've started there.
Yep.
Yes. So I've spoken to the structural engineer who I know. I've had a couple conversations with the architect, and I've spoken to Tom Dowd, who's a library board member, and Laura and I met with Catherine and Lindsay yesterday, mostly about the governance, but a little bit about this. And I've reviewed the structural engineer's reports and his opinion of probable cost, the architect's plans, and the RFP for the construction manager. So the repair work itself, and I don't need to go into a lot of detail. You guys may know this already, but it's essentially three components: the cupola, the roof, and the foundation. And I think that the way that and it's also my opinion that since the town owns the building and the town is paying for the repairs, that the town should manage the project.
I agree.
And the way in which the project unfolds will be related to the way in which the financing unfolds. So my understanding now is that the $200,000 is coming in $50,000 increments over 4 years. Is that?
Yes.
That's correct.
So I guess
I guess.
Well,
the way
I
I
also heard, some discussion of a loan that would give the $200,000 in one lump early, and then we have access to it. So the way the financing works would impact, in my opinion, the way the project unfolds. So that's why I'm not looking for an answer necessarily, but just saying that it would have an impact. And speaking with the engineer, it's his opinion that the cupola work is not the top priority. We could get to that; it would be fine, and that the initial priority would be either the foundation or the roof. And he would generally start with the foundation, which I would generally agree with, except that the foundation work is complicated in this case for a few reasons. One of which is that there's some discussion among the architects of shifting the position of the library when they do the foundation to better accommodate a future addition and the accessible entry. So that's one, and in order for them to feel confident about that suggestion, they would want to do more design work. So that's one issue that complicates it. Another issue is wanting to consider site drainage as part of the foundation work, because you would be putting in a perimeter drain for the foundation, and we know that site drainage is an issue on that property. There's another possibility in my mind of potentially lowering the foundation height a little bit to make the accessible entry a little easier to achieve, which would need to tie into the site drainage issue. And then the last potentially thing to consider for that, and it wouldn't be necessary, but this septic piece of the project, and would that want to be considered during the foundation work, which is often the case. But
they're already in there with big machines.
With the machines, and you would be making a hole for this, sewer line to come out. And
so I thought the septic was above and beyond what that 200,000 was going to be able to cover.
It is, and I'm getting to that.
Thank you.
So, anyway, and then the roof work is somewhat unknown because it's hard to access portions of the roof. But also the roof piece is sort of compelling because we have the offer of a donated new roofing. And if we were doing the roof repairs at the same time as the donated roof, it would allow us to open up, replace sheathing as necessary, and in that process, do some of the repairs from above, which is often easier.
Some of the roof repairs from above?
Correct. Yes.
So the donated roof work is not all the work of the roof.
I would be very surprised if in pulling off the roofing, the metal, there was no damage to the what's underneath.
But that let's just assume there is damage underneath. It sounds like there is. Is that, maybe you don't know this, is dealing with that damage part of the roof offer?
I have no idea. I doubt it because my guess is that we could ask.
But
my guess is
probably
that
not
they're
true.
assuming that there's a new,
a solid
roof sheathing
to
that they're
to put their
put this stuff on. Yeah, that would be my assumption, but we could ask. So that's sort of the summation of what the repairs involve. The next question is what the repairs might cost, and I think we need to take the engineer's opinion of probable cost with a very big grain of sand because he would be the first to admit that that's not his area of expertise. He gave, some very rough numbers, which was used for, to get us to this point. But I really think that one of the first things we might consider is getting some real world estimates for these pieces so that we can really understand
what we're doing.
Yeah, because if the foundation is going to be quite a bit more than he thought, or the roof is quite a bit less, we would be in a better position to make a decision about how to proceed now. So that would be one suggestion.
Are you saying like whatever they gave as an amount for the structural repair is like a hypothetical?
It's absolutely a hypothetical because he is a structural engineer. He's not a builder. He's not a contractor. And he would be I know if he was sitting in the room, he would be the first to admit, it's my best guess, but it's a guess.
What's the matter?
Something smells hot, that's all.
Oh.
Making sure there's nothing on fire.
We're also in a period of very volatile construction pricing.
Right.
And so he did that last year and that alone could cause a difference. So in any event, I think before we're able to really make informed decisions about how to proceed, we would need to have better information about what the cost would likely to be. There are some other issues to consider. So one is that I reviewed the RFP for the construction manager and I talked to the engineer about it, and I'm not entirely convinced that we need a construction manager if the scope is sort of isolated structural repairs. I think the construction manager makes a lot of sense if it's a big project that includes an addition and renovations and accessibility and structural repairs. I think but I'm not convinced that we need it and need to pay for it. If we're doing just these sort of
fix the roof,
specific,
that's a tab. Get it done.
It's pretty, those tasks are pretty quantifiable and pretty discreet and pretty easy to manage. So I think we could be open to not doing the construction manager. I do think that there's, in my mind, so what complicates all of this is that the library is moving ahead with a lot of this work independently of the town. But so the architects have been involved with designs for, some of the accessibility changes and the additions and they could be involved with guiding the structural repair work. But what I said to the library board is I would be careful about how much more money you spend with the architect if you're not ever going to, well, let me back up for a sec. I'm not sure that the town would have the appetite for $1 million addition project, or I just, given everything else that's going on in town, it would be I would be personally a little surprised. So I think if that were to happen, it would come from the library, from their fundraising. And so I think then it really brings into question, the building itself that the town owns, and then the library that has their agenda for some of the project there and the potential growth, and then the architect. We need to sort those relationships out, I think.
All of which I feel like your conversation has moved from the structural stuff into governance. We own the building, we're doing work on it, and
Well, yes, but to bring it back to the structural repair work, I think, so among the questions is, you know, if we were looking at the foundation work, would we consider moving the building? And would we, and in my mind, we would really only do that if it was likely we were going to do a big enough addition to require that. And so one of those first questions for that is, does the town or the library, somebody need to pay for more design work in order to answer that question?
I really think what was approved by the voters was repair. So
It was, but the
when I think
foundation-
of repair, I don't think of design, other than you probably got to do some level of what's going on, looking at the building. But like, I don't want to see us changing the foundation, changing the position of the library.
Well,
that's not what we voted for. That's not what we asked the voters for.
But to be clear, it wouldn't affect the cost if the library moves over 5 feet.
Why?
Well, you have to pick the
wouldn't
library
affect the
up.
You have to lift it anyway.
You have to lift the building up anyway, and you have to dig out the existing foundation, and you have to excavate and form up a new foundation. You have to do all of that anyway.
They're building a whole new foundation.
A whole new poured concrete foundation.
Oh, I thought they were
Okay,
just gonna like
no.
jack it up and shim things
yeah.
and.
No, I don't, and I would not recommend that as a course.
Okay, so we're talking about jacking the entire building up and
Yes.
putting it and tearing out the foundation and
Yes.
putting in a new foundation.
Yes.
Or jacking up the building, tearing out the foundation, moving it over 5 feet, pouring a new foundation.
Correct.
There's gotta be some, I gotta dig more ground and.
A little bit, but I don't think it would be significant, to be honest. But
What's under it now? Is there a
It's easier
basement
to
or a
move
crawl
the
space?
building and get it
It's a
across
crawl
And
space.
we're trying not to do.
so
We're,
in any event, so there's a little bit of a question with the foundation. So the foundation piece of this is likely to be more expensive than the roof, for sure, and complicated by some other considerations. And so if we are phasing this, one possibility is that we start with the roof because it's more quantifiable. And if there is any leaking there, it would be great to keep that from getting into the building, you know, as we move forward.
based on is that kind of what you're suggesting? Is that we start with the roof?
That would be, I think that's where we're headed, but I do think it would be worthwhile to get some real world estimates for this work.
But what if those scare me?
Well, they will scare you.
It's not,
it doesn't
it's a little
change.
disheartening that those estimates weren't a little bit more grounded in reality based on how many times we were shown them.
To be fair, in the conversation, there was conversation like, these numbers are from a year ago. These are all gonna be bigger than they are. Like,
I get
we're
that.
gonna be lucky.
I understand.
But you're right, they were-
inflation, but
Yeah.
like there were like if I'm remembering right, and maybe I'm not, they were pretty like line item detail that lended
That
itself
implied
to make you
a level
think
of
that there was a level of that they
specificity
came
and-
from somewhere.
Yeah, I would have recommended, if I were involved at the time, that we source some of that information from someone who's not a structural engineer.
Yeah.
I just think it's a flawed
better process.
concept, but he's a great engineer. So I do, and he did recommend two different people who he thought would be great at the process of lifting the building, doing the foundation. You could handle the whole project. And so I have, a couple places to start if we wanted to pursue estimates.
Getting better pricing.
Yeah, because I think it would be, we would be able, even if we don't want to hear the answers, we will need to.
Still need to hear them.
And when we have that information, even if it's unpleasant, we will be in a better position to
decide
make a
what to
decision
do,
about
right.
how to proceed. But I do think that there is a question, there is still a question of, like I said, I think the town needs to manage this part of the
I
project
totally agree.
because it's
Yeah.
our building. And then the library needs to decide what is their long-term vision and do they think they have the capacity to fundraise to do a big addition? And if that's realistic, then maybe they do spend some more money on the architect now. And we really do hash out, are we going to move the building or not? So
That's a lot of really good information, Chris. Appreciate that.
It's really
Yeah.
helpful to have someone know what they're talking about, helping us get our heads around it. I think that we, Chris, Laura, whoever, should have a conversation about the accessibility piece. Because because if moving, and you haven't like explained more than just moving the building over 5 feet makes, I don't want to have to do that in 5 years.
it wouldn't, well, so I think the accessibility,
Or just the
the
lower.
accessible entry period would not require the building to be moved over. If they were doing, right now, the design is a small addition or medium addition that has the entry, the bathroom and stuff, and then a proposed addition next to that sticking out even further. So it's the combination of those two things that would require the building to be slid over.
I don't.
But I do think that the town, you know, it's a town building, and we ultimately will be required to make it accessible. So, and I think that some of that work was included in phase 1 of the RFP, and I'm not sure that the budget would support that, you know, like a new stair and anyway, so if we proceeded with the RFP for the construction manager, I think we would want to revise that scope a little bit, but given the budget.
Real quick, Jim, real quick.
Get a little frustrated, the 78 this year. There's $300,000 worth of studies for the Jericho Center, including Underhill Road, the library, and the pathway through the pond. If those studies were pulled together with an owner, then you stop the traffic abuse problem in front of the library, you give the library more parking. The well that was drilled was a demonstration well, and we have excess sewer capacity over at the Jericho Center Community Center that we exported to the church, and then we have a backup field. So we could take the effluent from the library, put it into a simple pump station, directionally bored, put it into the pipes that are at the church. But we need to have somebody that's the owner of these projects that will actually listen to those of us who've been here for 50 years. And let's put it together and get it all done, because the school bus stops there. We got parking. There's so many things that have already been studied and then never implemented.
Okay, thank you.
So let me just, one more thing. If I think the town, I know that the current scope of the approved financing was for the structural repairs. I would be interested to know if the town had a plan, or if we should make a plan for when we might consider the accessible projects. And because it may influence, you know, some of the work that we do now a little bit. So
That's what I was saying when I was saying someone sitting down with the library board and saying, essentially, having a conversation about that accessibility piece. And speaking 100% for myself, I don't have much appetite for getting behind $1 million project to make that building, to do that expansion they're talking about. But if they say, yeah, we get that, we get the town, we got the feeling the town is not going to support $1 million, whatever, but we have a plan that we think is viable for X, Y, and Z, and get these pieces in place and get these, make these moves, we think we can get $1 million. And if they can kind of convince the board that, okay, they have a path forward that is not going to involve taxes, then I don't want to miss the chance to do something that we should do now.
And to be fair, I think I can say this, that when we met yesterday, they you know, they would be thrilled to have a bigger library, but they also would be almost, I would say, equally happy to be in that current building with it structurally sound and accessible and functioning well. I mean, they're not necessarily making a hard push for this addition.
You said accessible.
They would like it to be accessible.
But
Yeah,
it's not accessible. That's
it is
$1 million.
No, the $1 million is the addition.
No, the addition was required for accessibility. That was the impression I was under.
Yeah.
Well,
I haven't seen a quote for accessibility under $1 million.
there's two pieces of the addition. One is, and I do think that the piece that they designed for the new entry could be pared down. I don't think it needs to be as involved as it is, but there's two pieces. One is the entry piece and one is the new function space.
So that makes me think even more that we should have someone should have a conversation with them about what are their realistic hopes for what to do, and we don't want to miss the chance. We want to, if there's something we can do right now to make that process easier, and we're convinced that they're actually going to pull it off, and we're supportive of it as the owners of the building, then let's.
But I do think there will be a point at which the town. I think there will be a point at which the town needs to decide. We own the building. We are obligated. It's a municipal building. We are obligated to make it accessible. Are we expecting the library to raise the funds for that? Or at what point is the town responsible for that? I think that's
my feeling is that I'm fairly confident we're not legally responsible.
Yeah, it's a historic
It's a
building.
historic building.
It's like a historic building. Like I don't see how you can have it accessible.
If we're not legally
and
responsible.
historic
If we're not
building.
legally responsible and we're sort of morally responsible, I'm not sure that if we're not legally responsible, I'm not sure that I want to make it accessible.
And to be fair, there are degrees of accessibility. So one is getting in the front door. The second would be, I think, getting a bathroom that's accessible. And the third would be finding some way to get upstairs.
Second floor.
In that order of priority. So I think that there might well be ways to achieve
some level of.
I don't know how we get to the second floor without some addition, but there may be ways to achieve the first two objectives without.
And this, I
doing it.
think it's a conversation for another.
Yes.
It's really way down there. We did have a really productive conversation about the governance, and we discussed different options for clarifying our organizational structure, how we partner with the town. And so my thought process was I have a meeting set up with Paula, and Chris is invited to talk about the various options for clarifying the governance. And then I'd like Chris and I to go back to Lindsay and Catherine and come up with some suggestions that they like and we like, and then bring it to the
Suggestions
select
for
board.
governance.
Yep. And there's a lot of really good examples. I did some research on different towns. But I really want to have that conversation with Paula first, and then go back to Lindsay and Catherine.
Feel them out,
and then present what we came up with.
Do you know the history at all? Do you know how the library started? And like, for example, has the town always paid the librarian?
What?
Has the town always paid the librarian?
No, that was 2017. That
So what was-
Catherine, and to say we took over the employment of the librarian
So
and all the employees.
So in 2016, the library board was paying the librarian.
And there was
How were they paying them? With what money?
Their money.
money we gave them,
But money we gave them.
the taxpayers.
Well,
Like was it?
they also had, I won't.
Yeah, I don't want to
They
quote you.
had-
I don't want to. Yeah.
Right, they had their funds set up and they would write, and it was just a part-time librarian, so they would cut a check to her for her time or whatever.
So I guess that's my question is, it feels like a fundamental piece of the structure is who's paying the different bills. And if I'm just interested in 2016, who was paying the librarian, whether it was part-time or whatever, and how much was that? And if it was a library board, where was that money coming from? That now we're paying it. So I'm just wondering about that, sort of the history of how we got where we are now.
Actually, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, I believe, if I'm correct, and I will double check with Amy, is the library. I'm not, I've gotta check with Amy. Let me check with her first to see how that all worked out.
And maybe
how
it was
that
like the
became
fire department
paid.
where they pay, the fire department pays their firefighters $10 or whatever is an hour, but we pay, we give all the money to the fire department, they then pay. Maybe it's like we give.
That's how it was.
We gave the library a chunk of change. I think it'll be helpful, but.
Go ahead.
It's the library was and still is a 501c3 nonprofit. Very much like well, just like the fire department, just like SS Rescue. And the town would give the Jericho Center Library a lump sum. Then there are two forms of library in the state statutes. One is 501c3 library, where the town contracts with the library, with the 501c3 for a certain amount of money to provide certain library services. The second model is a municipal library that can either be its own district, like Jebber Lawson is, or it's a town library, a town department. Richmond is a town department. The paychecks say town of Richmond. It's a department. It's like the highway department. So it's either town department or its own municipality. One way, or the other way is a 501c3, like the fire department, with a contract. We're sort of halfway over the fence.
Right.
And I believe the change was made in part because it was in 2017, because it was difficult. And this is the part I'm a little hazy on. I believe that it was really hard for the library to offer benefits kind of on their own, and by making it a town employee, but now it's sort of halfway over the fence. It's a 501c, there's no contract in terms of what the services are, which is not what the state statute says. But it's also not a municipal library because there is no accountability. The town does not know what the money was spent on.
And that's what we're planning
And
to
so the
solve.
public doesn't know, the public knows where every penny for Deborah Rawson was spent. And the Richmond public knows where every penny of the Richmond library was spent. But right now, Jericho is just is paying the employee out of convenience because we can offer benefits, then gives the library a lump sum, and they sort of do their own thing. And it's even more opaque because a 501c3 does not need to file a tax return if their revenues are below $50,000. They haven't filed a tax. Strangely enough, they have not filed a tax return. I went back as far as 2008. And that's on the IRS website, and they have not filed a tax return all that time, even though, they've been a 501c3. I'm surprised that their budget didn't go above 50,000 when they were paying the librarians, but that's, that's kind of how it goes. So I think that what has to happen is, and Laura will quickly know a lot more than I do if she doesn't already. We need to decide, is this a municipal library, or is this a 501c3 nonprofit that contracts with the town for library services?
Yes.
And leases the building. So that will be a contract for services and a written lease. What I don't know right now is, and I know the library board doesn't know, is if there's a trip and fall or child abuse, who's got the liability coverage?
And those are all questions that
If the town just is like insuring it
Follow
like
that.
property,
Yep.
the library has no insurance at all. No D&O insurance, nothing. And they are making decisions about an employer, and they're running a space that has children, and they have no liability coverage. And what I don't know is whether the town has property insurance with the liability coverage that you would want in a situation with children.
Yes.
That was helpful. Thank you, Chuck.
And the model that we talked about is the Richmond model. And
Which is part of the town.
it's a municipal library. We have gone down that road that we own the building. The people are, the librarian and the others are employees. What Richmond has done, the select board, is give the trustees, the town library trustees, the authority to supervise the librarian. So I want to talk to Paul about what she knows about the coverage, the insurance, the financials. And Lindsay and Catherine were very open to, they do annual reports, they get audits. That needs to be public. And if it is municipal, the trustees would have to be elected, on and on and on. But there's not a lot more I want to talk about until we really have some concrete suggestions.
Fair enough.
That's super.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for,
Super helpful.
thank you guys for,
Pardon me?
It's a municipal library. Then you have the authority to sort out why do we have two libraries? And how do we differentiate them to offer services? I mean, the Ross Library is fully accessible. And maybe that sort of changes,
And I did ask about the memorandum of understanding that the town library has with Deborah Ross, and because I couldn't find it anywhere. And Catherine says she has it and we'll share it.
Catherine Bass?
Catherine Bass, yeah.
I didn't even know there was one.
But it sounded like, sort of things like summer reading program that, it wasn't.
Not like governance, not like
No.
governance. No.
the ultimate historian on this is Jean Archibald.
Mhm.
She used to live in Jericho Center, was a librarian, and then Latiti was the founder of Deborah Rawson. And in the founding of Deborah Rawson, the role of Jericho Center Library was kind of front and center, and why do we need to, sort of all that stuff. And I would give Jean a call.
So step one is our conversation with Paula. Step two is to go back to Lindsay and Catherine and talk about some of the things that Chris has brought up, and then come to this board and with a proposal.
And one question that I had, even before Chuck mentioned the Deborah Rawson, was if it would make sense to put the Jericho Town Library under the Deborah Ross, to just have it subsume it and have them be one entity. That is where it's one board and it's one budget and all that. And I'm not sure if that's like heresy to the Jericho Town.
I'm not sure
people.
I'm not sure that Ross and either would be.
You think? Okay, yeah. But
And they'll have a new director at some point.
Deborah Rawson will?
Yeah, she, blanking on her name, but she's retiring.
Jamie, Holly
Hall.
Yes.
okay. Great conversation. Thanks everybody. Next on the agenda. I'm gonna pull the right agenda up. I think it's liquor licenses, right?
Yep.
Peter's favorite time of the year. Liquor license?
New liquor licenses. Okay, I have a question I'm not 100% clear. Jessica's here. You can tell me what exactly we have to read here. But every word of those 2 pages of those.
I thought this would happen at 7:30. That's right, okay. Do you have 3 pages in front of you?
I have 1, 2, 3 pages in front of me.
And an attachment.
No, I've got.
So I thought
I've got.
I would give you everything for the calendar year, and then pending a completed application through the Department of Liquor Control's portal and the town payment being received. It used to be that a lot of the licenses expired April 30th. Well, they all expired April 30th, but then when this portal got introduced, as businesses changed hands and new businesses applied for a license, they were giving a year
From wherever you
anniversary.
applied.
Yeah, so not everyone's on the April 30th, but the majority of them are. And then there's 3 types of liquor license: first class, second class, and third class. So first class is a restaurant, and they have the option of having a third class, which is like a restaurant or bar licensed to sell spirituous liquor. And then a lot of the restaurants also have outside consumption permits, which when they are first approved, the Department of Liquor Control goes out and actually visits the site and gives their recommendations about where the exits are, where the barriers are. And then they're that description is in the license, so it could just be renewed the next year.
So what do we have to read?
If you want, I can propose what the motion should be for the restaurants, and then a second motion for the stores, which is second class, and then a third motion for tobacco, and then a fourth motion for tobacco substitute endorsement.
I propose that you do just that, and then the board, should they choose, has the option to say
So
so moved.
Yep.
Are you guys okay with that as a board?
Yes, before we do that, does anybody, I'm guessing that I believe the Jericho Market is selling beverages with cannabis in them, which I think is illegal.
I have no idea.
Are you sure is it cannabis or is it
THC.
Sorry, I'm so jet THC, thank you. I'm so jet lagged right now.
Yeah.
It could be hemp.
Is it hemp or is it cannabis?
I thought it said it was like a week ago, and I was like, oh, that's weird.
I'll walk in tomorrow and let's look, because there's the difference, right? Like you can have hemp beverages and those can be sold everywhere, but cannabis beverages specifically, those have to be sold at dispensaries.
So is THC and cannabis the same thing?
No.
Yes, THC and cannabis are the same thing, but then there's CBD, which is different and can be sold anywhere.
And hemp.
And those are the same thing, CBD and hemp.
CBD comes from hemp.
Exactly.
And so does THC.
THC makes you high, right?
And you can have
Technically,
THC
both of them make
hemp
you
or-
high, but like
Hemp has to have to be legally, it has to have under a certain concentration, I believe.
Right.
Like,
that-
yeah,
or You can legally concentrate that stuff.
sure, I
And
suppose.
sell in convenience. This stuff is sold in convenience stores across the country. Sold in Texas, 7-Eleven.
What is this stuff?
THC.
Hemp derived THC beverages.
THC.
yeah,
Hold on.
THC you can buy.
Stop.
almost
Wait,
anywhere.
Amy, hold on. I'm getting 3 people
Sorry.
all talking at once.
You need a
What,
license.
Jim, Chuck, what do you think requires a special license to be sold in Jericho?
See, each town has to decide.
You know that you can buy gummies, THC gummies that are hemp derived. You order them and they come in the mail.
Right,
Okay. And
which get you high.
it will get you high.
Right.
And there are hemp derived THC beverages in convenience stores in Texas, Kansas, everywhere.
Right, but you can buy those in Essex because that's legal in Essex, but I don't think that's legal in Jericho. So that's my question is what is being so, and I can look into what is actually, I'll go and look at the can and see what it says exactly, and then maybe talk to you and say, like, what do you know about what is what? Okay, thank you. Sorry to make all that.
There's a license required from the Vermont Cannabis Control Board, just like the Liquor Control Board. And it's under strict regulations, and it has to do with the quantity, and the chemical that's measured is THC. And
Right.
it comes from both plants.
Okay, take it
Okay,
away.
go ahead,
Jess.
Jessica.
So a proposed motion for the first class and outside consumption permits, which are all renewals for Griffin Riders LLC doing business as Jericho Cafe and Tavern, Kate's Food Truck, Lucy and Howe Brewing Company LLC, and Metric Corporation doing business as Mountain High Pizza Pie. In addition, a third class liquor license for Griffin Riders LLC and Kate's Food Truck. Second class, or do you want it all together? Or stop at that? Keep going.
You want separate motions for different classes?
I don't care. Like she knows this stuff.
one
If
motion
you're
for
good with
everything.
one motion, I think that
For
makes
everything.
our lives the
So
easiest.
second class liquor license for Pine Martin LLC doing business as Stone's Throw Pizza.
Sugar Flake Group doing business as Jericho Country Store, CMB Holdings LLC doing business as Chittenden Mills Beverage, AGS Vermont Incorporated doing business as Jericho Market, DG Realty, DG Realty. Retail LLC doing business as Dollar General number 14358, and Stewart's Shop Corp doing business as Jolly number 501. Tobacco license for the Sugar Lake Group doing business as Jericho Country Store, CMB Holdings LLC doing business as Chittenden Mills Beverage, AGS Vermont Incorporated doing business as Jericho Market, DG Retail LLC doing business as Dollar General number 14358, Stewart's Shop Corp doing business as Jolly number 501, and a tobacco substitute endorsement license for CMB Holdings LLC doing business as Chittenden Mills Beverage, and Stewart's Shop Corp doing business as Jolly 501.
That's all of them.
That's everything. Yeah.
So moved.
Need a second.
I second that.
Moved, even though that sounded like Jessica, that was moved by Peter and seconded by Amy. Laura, excuse me. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
It's a separate catering request, which is when an event is, a caterer is serving alcohol at an outside event. So this is for April 25th, 2026 from noon to 11 p.m. Griffin Riders LLC at 3 Irish Farm Road, which is the Mount Mansfield Farm. Will be 150 guests, and it's a fundraiser event.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right.
Thanks, Jessica.
Update on wastewater task force. Do you have any updates?
No, I don't think so. No.
Do we need to cover the change from last meeting in the public?
Oh, yes, we should.
Okay, so I have a very small update that I'll include. After last select board meeting, there was a change in who's staying on the wastewater task force. And so Peter and I will be staying on the task force, and Chris is going to step away from it. The only other update that I have is I do have a meeting scheduled with the principal and then Phil Graff, which he's like the facilities person, with Kate next Wednesday to talk about where we're at in the process and how we're coming along. And I expect I actually saw an email come through that I haven't had a chance to digest from Chris Shaheen that I don't know what's in it, but it may be that we have more information on those drill borings
We
that
do.
we do have that.
Mhm.
Okay, I have not looked at it, but I will before that
It's
meeting, and we'll
Mildly good news.
mildly good news.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Emphasis on the mild.
It's on the side of
Yeah,
good news.
it's definitely better than not. It's
Okay,
not bad
good.
news.
Good.
It's 15 instead of 12. It's the short version.
Is it really?
But
I was going to say
but
it's more than
15 instead of
12. Yeah.
12.
but possibly more.
Right.
Okay, good. Oh, well, that's good. So that's the update there. And then we'll have a meeting Monday. So we'll have a little bit more
Monday,
information.
5:30. Yeah.
Select board updates. Start with Amy because she's remote. Got any updates?
No major updates for me. Paula, we're going to be meeting on with the Planning Commission in the upcoming weeks to continue to talk through capital budget. But other than that, nothing from me.
Okay. Chris?
No.
Peter?
Couple things. At the town meet at the Australian ballot, the TMRI committee wanted to have a table, and the wastewater task force group wanted to have a table. Look, one of these pens, Eric. Did you steal Eric's pen?
Yeah, that is my
Oh,
pen.
I stole your pen.
Yeah, I have such a hard time hanging on to them.
The two groups wanted to table outside the polling place on town meeting day, and Jessica, who I think is left, was concerned that that was a violation of our polling place policy. And I went and talked to her about that, and she felt that there was language in our policy about, or in the state statute about exit surveys. Which I think is different, but the BCA is going to be revisiting our local polling policy and making sure it lines up with the state statute. And I personally think that we should, or maybe not be encouraged, but allow anybody who wants to reach citizens in some informational way that is completely unrelated to anything on the ballot, that should be allowed inside the building as a table, as like an informational table, which is what the TMRI group did and the wastewater task force people did. And I, on behalf of the select board, said, yes, I'll take responsibility for this. So if someone is angry and feels this is illegal, Jessica, you can say, I didn't okay it. Peter Booth okayed it, and nobody complained.
Is this anybody specifically for town business?
For town business, yes.
Okay,
So Chuck can't show up and advertise his personal
Political
business,
party or whatever.
or his personal
Okay.
business or whatever,
Okay.
right? It would be any
Okay.
any town committee or town entity can do that. So that's going to be a discussion in the BCA. The 4% late fee thing has come due. That was only till December 2025, Eric.
I know.
Okay, so we're gonna do nothing.
Uh,
There's no judgment in that question. That's just like that. I just want to make sure we're like, yep, we're just gonna leave it where it's at and move on.
I'm good with keeping it.
Okay.
Do we have to do something to make it permanent, or
I wasn't on the board. I was yelling at you at the time.
that's true.
We might have to, but it might have to be an agenda.
It for sure has to be an agenda item.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when we can put it on the agenda to discuss, it's not up to me.
Yeah.
So,
just out of curiosity, I looked up a local option tax to see what it was, how it worked, and what it would generate. And it's a little bit hard to figure out what it would generate because you can't get alcohol sales from the state. But I don't think it would make a whole lot of money. I think it would bring in like maybe $50,000, just FYI. And then my last thing was there's a CCRPC regional housing convention thing happening on April 20 something that I was wondering if anybody was planning on going to, and if not, that I might go to it.
Was that the all-day thing? Was that the one in Stowe?
That rings a bell. It's nope, Main Street Landing.
Oh, right.
Oh, it's 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. on a Wednesday at Main Street Landing. Opportunity to connect and discuss regional housing issues. Excited to have Grace Murray and Matt Mushian speaking about navigating community resistance to housing, building public support, and moving projects forward. Come together to network, share a meal, and hear a presentation about the latest in housing policy and trends. Does that interest anybody?
It interests me, but I can't say that I could go.
yeah,
Okay.
it's my
Okay.
exact comment.
Okay, great. So I'll look and see if I can go, and if I can go, I'll go. And that was it for update. I had a couple of questions about some things we discussed last time, I'm just checking on where they were at, but I can wait for people to finish updates.
I have a few. I did reach Elizabeth King from the farmer's market. She offered once a month. I thought that was okay. I mean, I think I said weekly on my initial ask, but let's start with once a month and see how popular we are. So I have an email into Elizabeth about which dates, because I wasn't sure from her reply whether she had specific dates in mind. And then I talked to Paula about putting a kit together of stuff that we can lug to the farmer's market when it's our turn. And once I know the dates from Elizabeth, I'll send out a ask for, which dates people want to do. And then we can also ask people from different committees if they want to come, like chairs. I had brought up with Eric, I think, about reviewing our animal control policy. Our policy is really old, and in light of what happened in Essex.
What happened in Essex?
There was a death from a dog attack.
Oh my God.
And the dog had already been of concern and had come to this. There had been things already with the select board, and they felt that they couldn't remove the dog because of how their ordinance read. So I think we need to review it, and we'll put it on the agenda. But I wanted to compare other animal control policies to see what we might do to strengthen it. And we also need an interim plan. And I think we need a job.
From what?
An interim plan in the absence of an animal control officer.
Oh.
And also we're looking for one, so I think we should put the job description, the requirements, and the pay on the website. So that people might see that it's an attractive job, but I have no idea if it is. And also whether you need to live in Jericho.
No.
Okay.
Like, I don't think we want it. It's not easy to find one. I don't think we want to be fussy.
Okay, good, because there
They
was some.
need to be able to be like. I think more than 15
Can't live
hours.
in JP.
If it's not a requirement that it's a person who lives in Jericho, have we had a conversation with other communities near us in sharing that animal control officer? Because if we want to say, Underhill, Essex, whoever will pay whatever dollar amount is logical to have you be our animal control officer, that might be our solution if we're having trouble filling that role.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So more to come on that. We talked about having a regular select board news. As talked to Paula about that. I think I would propose
Like front porch forum update kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yep.
That we do 3 a year, a sort of spring, summer, a fall, and a winter to start with. And I'm willing to pull important items from agendas. I mean, not from minutes, and then put it out as a draft. See if anyone else has. I mean, I think it needs to be very succinct and readable and just the highlights. So I'm happy to continue to move that forward if you all are in agreement. And the last thing that I talked to Paula about was, do we have a technology, email, social media policy for our paid people?
Oh.
And currently it does not seem as though the employee handbook addresses any of that. And I think we need to look what happened with CSWD, but also other issues too. So I've been looking at those policies, and I hope, but it may not be popular what I present, because I think we need to be tighter about the emails that we use, that we own the content that is produced by employees, including ourselves. The town owns it. And so one of my proposals will likely be that if you're a paid employee, you need to be on the .gov email. And because also
.gov or .org? Is it .gov?
.gov, yeah. Things like, are people using their personal email for town business and using it for Netflix, Amazon, yada, 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 yada. And then it just gets.
Do you guys have .gov email addresses? I don't.
Laura and Amy do. Eric and I don't.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm gonna,
Laura,
Paula,
Laura, can maybe you and I sit down and talk about this too? Because
Yeah.
I think this is a bigger conversation than just, I think it's really critical we talk about what we're doing with social media and what we're doing with our email addresses. But I think that there's also some, what we're doing overall as a process for paid employees within town hall that we could probably augment. We talked about things like how we're doing vacation policy, all of that stuff. So maybe if we just sit down and have a 20-minute chat on it, that would be really good.
What is the what policy? Haven policy?
Yeah.
what?
We
What did you say?
Vacation.
Time
Oh,
off.
vacation policy.
Vacation
Oh,
policy. Vacation
okay.
policy. Mhm.
Okay,
That feels like a separate thing.
it does. I was thinking more
but
about
I,
data
sorry.
governance.
It,
Yeah.
it all connects to me and how we're treating town employees and how we're doing this like overall. If we're talking about policies overall, I think that we should have a wholesale revisit.
Yeah. Okay.
Heard Catherine somewhere.
Did you feel it? I feel her.
Talk Catherine, yep.
Or do it in chunks. Which
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
more
Okay, but
manageable
I think
for
we
me.
should have a plan.
Yep, for
Yeah.
sure.
I think that's it.
My only update was another question, and I think this is, I think we got this, and I just don't remember it right. But last year, there was a lot of discussion about Raceway, a little bit different discussion than what I'm seeing now. And as part of that discussion, I think we asked for a report from Tyler on what his recommendation on what we need to do with that road. And I can't remember if we got it.
We did.
We did.
Yep.
So if I just search my email somewhere, have it, or maybe you could just
I'll see if I
resend
can
it to
find
the
it.
board. I think what I wanted to do is kind of read through it and, kind of to our point where we talked about last week, where we're not necessarily looking to get into a back and forth on Front Porch Forum, but it would be good to see like whatever that was. I clearly don't remember what the recommendations were.
What was the last name?
Billingsley.
Did you send to everyone if you had that? Because I looked through my email and I couldn't find anything on Raceway. So it may have been just before Laura and I were elected.
Maybe. Yeah, anyway, I know we talked about it. I kind of thought he gave us something, but I couldn't find it. So I think it might be good to look at that and come up with some sort of update on what we got from that. And then I think as a board, we probably do need to talk about what of those recommendations we can do this year, what we can't. I think we probably need to do that. It's the only update I can think of. What about you? You got any updates? No updates. All right.
I had some follow-up questions, but Laura hit all of them except for one, which was permit and impact fees. I think Amy's been out of town. She has.
Right, she was out of town, so
Okay.
we're gonna revisit that
Okay.
and look at the ones that we questioned.
Yep. Okay.
Honestly, Paula, do you have some time tomorrow? Because I can come in tomorrow morning if you're around.
I have,
It's all good if you don't.
yeah. I'll be leaving at 10:30 for an appointment, so.
I mean, if you had time earlier, I'll be good. If not, let's plan for some time early next week and we'll finalize everything. But I think that it should be able to be done by next select board meeting.
Yeah, yep, okay,
Yep.
sounds good.
Cool.
Yep.
And then I had a random question. When did we start our budget process? Because I have notes to myself, and I want to remember.
I like to have a couple meetings where we don't have to talk about it after every
After
single
every
meeting,
meeting.
and then extra meetings, and then more meetings.
So
So
September, October is kind of where it begins to ramp up. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Approve the warrants. We did that. Next on the agenda is approve the meeting minutes from March 5th.
I have a couple edits, I think.
I read through. Nothing stood out to me.
It stood out to me either.
Nothing stood out to me.
Um, It may not matter now, but just for the record, on line 158, it says we are talking about abandoning Railroad Circle and giving it to the new property. I just wanted to put to just add abandon Railroad Circle as a town road to clarify what we meant about
Oh, yeah, that's a
abandoning
good
Railroad
point.
Circle. Like, oh, we're just gonna just let it
Yeah,
fly.
yeah,
We're just gonna
yeah.
walk away. Just to be clear what we're talking about.
Yep.
That was all I had. And I would make a motion to approve the minutes of March 5th as amended.
And that,
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We do need an executive session.
I would like to make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of personnel, because premature disclosure of the information would be detrimental to the parties involved, and I'd like to invite Paula Holstein.
I second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good night,
Aye.
everybody.